All right, guys, welcome to episode 134 of the Drag Driver Pete Show presented by Summit Racing. Tonight's like transmission voodoo magic night tonight, okay? We have Jason Coan from Coan Transmissions on to discuss like a lockup torque converter for the Turbo 400s that goes in a factory place. Really a great conversation, about 40 minutes. That's about halfway through the show. And then we have Ryan Snyder of PerformaBuilt Transmissions on to talk about updates at the shop, what they have in store for 2026. And obviously, we're going to talk about a 7-second 4L60 powered Camaro. So going to be a great night. Guys, my name is Mike Narks. I am the host of this show you're watching here and the news, which happens on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock. And then my right-hand man right here, Mr. Eric White. Tell him what you got going on, dude.
I am Eric White, co-host of the show and the news. A little bit of everything, drag drive repeat related, the circuit related, artwork, mostly photos is what I've been doing for like the past year. Still chopping away at 6 summer photos. I think we're almost done with the day 4 track photos. So just, man, it's crazy how I get a bunch of time to knock out a bunch of photos, and then it feels like I have no time after that for a period. It's crazy. We'll get done with them before sick week, though, I promise.
Well, hey, and dude, that's in just a few days. I don't have that day count in our driven event segment, so I'll do that math here in just a minute. But guys, listen, we've had a crazy couple of weeks here with some race car friend stuff, man. It's been awesome. I see Richard Brewer even saying it there in the chat. Man, appreciate all you guys for all you do for us. It's really been kind of cool, and we've got a ton of stuff planned for 2026. And I'm telling you, I'm having some like serious withdrawal from seeing some people. Right. So we only got a couple weeks left here before we're going to be at the at Sick Week here just momentarily. And then, of course, if you guys are doing some shopping, we'd love for you to hit these folks up. Summit Racing, Deech Works, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, AFCO Performance Products, PerformaBuilt Transmission, who's on later tonight. Going to be a fun show. Car Change 3D, Power Tube TV, WAF Racing, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classified is going to be a cool bunch of cool names in there. Like there's a lot of really neat people that are involved in those brands that help us as far as on the drag driver Pete side. And of course, Summit Racing, the title sponsor here of the show and the news. Their speed legacy began in 1968 as a one-man startup and is now the world's speed shop with 4 facilities and 200 plus catalog editions. They fuel your passion, save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure to download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. Find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and on the On All Cylinders podcast, which I'll be listening to on my way down to Sick Week here shortly. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. You can find everything at summitracing.com or on our affiliate link that's pinned in the top of our Facebook page. Every link you touch that says Summit Racing on our website, dragdriverpete.com, takes you right to the page there. So that provides a little bit for us if the products are eligible. So Tom Wilhelm in here. Hey, do me a favor. Will you run the rest of it for just a second? I got to turn this heater off, dude. It's way too hot in here. I'm sweating.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So Autocross Week is kind of a event that we talk about every year. It is like Drag and Drive, but it's a little different and a little harder because these guys do not get to change their tires. They have to drive on whatever race tires they're using. Kind of a unique thing, but it's definitely something that one of these days I want to try. But this looks like a ton of fun. Their registration is open right now for those autocross folks to go ahead and sign up for that. Again, race at the autocross track. I forget what tracks they are, but and then from there on your race tires, drive to the next track, just like a drag and drive, except for you're doing the autocross instead of the drag racing. So pretty cool. Like I said, this is what one day when I don't have a full-time job that I have to go to every day. This is going
Full-time
to be on
job and
the
then
list.
like a almost full-time part-time deal.
Right. But yeah, this would be ton of fun to attend for sure.
Yeah, like maybe in the 240.
Dude, I'm telling you, it'd be a
Right.
ton of fun.
That could be kind of a blast. Yeah, this driving on the race tires, we've talked about this with Tommy Dupree a bunch. Driving on the race tires, to me, I think those guys could go faster if they didn't have to drive on those tires, but they say that's part of the deal, where
Yeah.
you're trying to worry about all that stuff. I don't know. I don't want to worry about any of that stuff.
I think I would try to run on, like, I wouldn't run street tires, but I would definitely
Yeah.
get some real sticky stuff and just take my chances on the street, I think.
Right? I mean, is that where you want to gamble it though?
I don't know. I think so. I think if I
Maybe.
was in that seat, I think that's what I would try.
Yeah, that's scary to me. I don't know. I think I'd rather have a stickier street tire than a stickier. I don't know, man. What a great problem to have. We're first world problems in here. We're trying to figure out.
Right. Yep.
Of course, if you guys are shopping Summit, hit the affiliate link there. Again, like I said a few minutes ago in the linked. It's linked everywhere. Anything that says Summit Racing on our stuff takes you right to the page through our affiliate link. And while you're over there, dude, why wouldn't you grab some Drag Drive Repeat merch? Like Nico Christoferi here looks like a total freaking badass wearing it as he's crossing the parking lot there. That's probably that's Race Week because that's at or Mega Week because that's at Tulsa Raceway Park.
And it says Mega Week in the corner.
Oh, hey, and it says Mega Week in the corner. I was looking right there by the big Connex. Oh my god!
Yeah.
What
Hashtag be like Nico.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. That's awesome. Yeah, some updates for Drag Driver Pete stuff. We're gonna be doing some giveaways this week, dude, or I guess coming days. So part of the packages we have for our sponsors, they get entries to the circuit, obviously, which is our big premier event. And so those guys aren't bringing race cars this year, so we're going to get to give away their entries, which is kind of exciting. So thank you to them for doing that. We appreciate that, and we're going to draw for 4 entries this Saturday morning live right here on the Drag Driver Pete Show. So it's going to be kind of cool.
That is pretty awesome. Appreciate those guys for giving up those spots to some people that are waiting to get in. I know those people are a little nervous on how quick this is going to sell out, I think.
Yeah, I was doing the math earlier, and with the people we had last year, their co-pilots and the early listers this year, man, it's going to be tight. So everybody better be ready. We're going to talk about this here in just a second, but circuit updates, we'll just go right into that. Oh, y'all weren't supposed to see that yet. I thought I had the dates up here. Next Friday is registration for returning racers and their co-pilots if they want to race this year in 2026. So we're the only event that does that. So if you had a co-pilot last year and that co-pilot's like, man, I want to do it, they get early and discounted rates as well. So going to be kind of fun. And of course, road trippers from last year, we only had a few, but if those folks want to race this year, they'll get that early registration as well. And the road trip registration is going to open next Friday to veterans as well. So we have some veterans that are going to move from the road or from the racer ticket to a road trip ticket because I just want to go have fun. So they're not worried about thrashing to get a car together. They're going to go to the road trip package, and we're kind of looking for about 100 cars. I think we can probably do that and do it well. So hey, there's Johnson Stone Cipher right there. What up, man? Cool. Now let's talk about this. Let's talk, because this has been a conversation we've had for several years, right?
Yes.
We did the road trip, or we did the cheap car challenge was it 2023 when we had Eli Gould do the Grand Prix? We had I think it was 23 when we
Feels
were.
longer ago, but you might be right.
Yeah, maybe it was 2022. Then it was a $1,200 budget, which was absolutely insane. Oh, hey, yeah, yes, definitely. Come on, let's go. We'll have a blast. Um, this is a whole new setup here. Casey Matthews is running this program for us. Of course, everybody always asks, "Hey, can we do this?" I'm like, "No problem. You run it.
Yeah.
You take care of this." So there's a full committee that you would be pushing, or you would be showing your progress to, the car you build, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of rules that go along with a cheap car challenge. I'm not going to read through all of them, but I did want to go over a few top talking points here. Again, Casey Matthews is your contact for all this. We have a post going up at 8 o'clock tonight that will show everybody, all the stuff on the circuit and on Drag Drive Repeat, all the rules and everything from there. So for every 100, I love this. For every $100 you're over the budget, you add a tenth to your event average. For every 100 you are under it, you subtract a tenth.
Oh man.
Oh man, this could get pretty interesting, because if you think about it, if you got like let's say you could build a 13-second $2,500 car. Say it's 13.0 is your average. Now suddenly you have a 12.5 $2,500 car. Like, that's pretty salty. I think somewhere in that range is probably what's going to win this, because to go fast you need more than $3,000. So of course things like safety don't count, but it's not like a Tom Bailey situation where you got to put a big block in it because you're going to run so much nitrous and for safety. It's like I love the gray area rules there. They're going to try and limit some of that. Safety stuff isn't counted in any of your budget, of course. I don't know. It's going to be really fun. And I think if we can get 6 or 8 cars in this, it'll be a blast, an absolute blast. And it'll show a lot of other people, hey, you can come out and have some fun without spending just a absolute ton of money on a really fast car.
Is that purchase price or total build cost?
Total build cost. Yeah, it's your total budget. That's all you got, except for safety. So if it has lap belts, you probably better figure out some kind of, harness bar or something. So yeah, this is going to be kind of cool. I'm excited. Basically, he says it best. He said the class is meant to be a relaxed, fun class where we all help each other and have a good time. This is not a gray area class. If you do something to try and get around the rules, the committee will vote and make a decision. So he's got a good group of guys that are going to help with all of the decision making. And if your car, not that if it qualifies, but what you want to, like, listen, if you get a turbo on a blower on a car, you're probably out of the rule packet. You're out of the budget. So is it worth it? I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun game play here, and of course that's going to be at the circuit 2026, and this will be a class into itself. So this will be added to the list of classes on the circuit classes page. The circuit dnd.com is the website for that, or you can find it right here on dragdriverepeat.com. Under events, we have a tab that mimics the circuit website, telling all the classes and all the rules and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a fun one, man. This is we love it when stuff, cheap cars are where it's at, dude.
Yeah, it was in 2023 that we did the $1,200 car challenge.
Yeah, which was pretty crazy, man. I really can't believe we ended up with $1,200. Eli Gould, I think, ended up winning that class, or no, the kid out of Kansas City that brought the Fox body.
Yeah.
Gave like $700 for a basket case Fox body, and then took 3 months and put it all back together. So
yeah.
Yeah, Richard, you're saying 2.4 hours of Lemons D&D edition. That's for sure. Yeah, this is going to be a ton of fun.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Tell us about some driven stuff, though.
All right. Well, let's hit the driven video, and then we'll talk about events.
Hey, it's Brandon from Fort Smith, Arkansas here. Driven Racing Oil is a performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application. Whether launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off-road and circle track, or pushing the limits in top-fueled drag boats and demo derbies, winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting-edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cleaning and high zinc formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts, while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. Crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil and enhanced with state-of-the-art additive packages, GP1 offers the best in protection and performance.
Did you see about halfway through there when that dude was pouring the oil into the filter? The oil was already black. I'm like, that's the oil I need. That way I don't know it's bad when it comes out.
Yeah, Red Hat Scotty said Austin Starkey bomb.
Yes, that's
What it
exactly
was.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, awesome. Great build there. And dude, to have $1,200 in it's pretty cool.
Yeah. For sure. All right. So event updates. So Felicia and Aaron Smith, they were on That's Cool Drink. Did you get to see that?
Yes, hang on. We got to back up real quick.
Uh-oh.
I had the notes in here and I didn't read it. So for this, the Cheap Car Challenge, the trophies are brought to you by U.S. Motor Works, which stands for Uncle Stoney Motor Works, which is Jonathan's own cyber. So sorry about that, dude. I had the notes, but I didn't have them pulled up when we were talking about it there. So I'm excited about that. He's doing the quickest overall, the most consistent, and then fan favorite voted on by racers. So that'll be really cool. Be a great way to win, take home something for your hard work and determination for the $3,000 budget Cheap Car Challenge.
Oh, that'll be pretty cool. All handmade trophies.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, go ahead. Back to what you were saying about Driven.
I was just talking about Felicia and Aaron Smith on the That's Cool Drink podcast. Did you get to catch that?
Man, I only got about 30 or 40 minutes of it. I tried watching it again today, and my daughter kept calling and asking me to come pick her up. So my plan is to watch it tomorrow, to watch the full thing. Looked like they had a great time, and the stories that I did hear during the show were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, ton of good stories from her about her first car, and she had a G35, and then heard like a Mopar or heard a Hellcat or something like that with a cam, and was like, I want that. And Aaron was like, oh, you can't do that out of the V6 and that G35. Gearhead Perspective, they hosted a show Sunday night. We've got Brian working on segments and stuff like that from that show. So that'll be dropping on our page as well as there. So make sure you're going over Gearhead Perspective, watching all their stuff too, because they are now part of the Drag Drive Repeat family here as well. So you can watch right here Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Central, Gearhead Perspective.
Yes, sir. And then we've got some dates that have been released. So Streetcar Challenge, those dates are going to be June 4th through 7th.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. That one's back. Joshua Horton sent me a message the other day. He's like, man, if you can make it this year, it'd be great. He's like, this is going to be a hitter of a year. BC Drag It Challenge. This is back for, I think, their 4th year now, I think is what this is, maybe. June 17th through 22nd at Cache Creek in British Columbia. This is the farthest west, whatever you call that, in Canada. Well, it's not a community. What is it? It's like a country, I guess, up there, basically. So that'll be kind of fun. And that gives us, dude, I don't have the notes on here, but that's 10 events in June.
Wow. That's quite a bit.
That's a bunch.
And then Heads Up Hustle has posted the dates for their event. It's now going to be July 24th through 26th. The tracks have not been announced yet, but they will be released as soon as the ink hits the paper for there.
Yeah, I'm excited. John Paul Franks made this post. This is one that I announce at. So this is like my only announcing gig for the year. So this will be kind of fun to go back up here. It's been my 3rd year to do it. So it's going to be kind of awesome. I can't wait to see where they host it. Him and I have talked on and off about a bunch of different tracks. And if he's lined up with a few of the ones he's even talked about, it's going to be a great event.
Nice. And then registration coming up. So January 10th, which is in 3 days, registration for Miles of Mayhem will open up. And again, Miles of Mayhem is July 26th through 31st. So if you are in that area and want to attend, January 10th, again, 3 days, registration opens up.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Get in there and get in fast because it's going to sell out. It sells out every year. So it should be pretty fun. And then we have 9 days left until the circuit 2026. I'm anxious, man. There's still so much to do. I've got to make sure all the classes are right, make sure all the sponsors are right, make sure all the rules are right. A few changes that are coming will be kind of fun, as well as adding the $3,000 Cheap Car Challenge budget class. And then registration for Rocky Mountain Race Week, same day, January 16th, for veteran returning racers for 1.0. I think this will be for Group A. And then public registration, if there's any left, on January 17th. On that Saturday morning. And then, of course, I went ahead and filled in Race Week as well, because this is Group B from Mega Week, or Race Week from the past. I don't know how they're doing it. Veteran registration February 20th, and then public registration February 21st, because I knew that would be a question. I figured I'd go ahead and throw it in there.
Yes. So again, whoever is going to the circuit and Race Week, man, they're going to be busy next weekend getting signed up for both events.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty intense. The great thing is, man, it sets up the year perfect. So, we're late April, early May, Race Week in June. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be a great time for everybody to get out and do some drag and drive stuff. Dude, that's 41 events. No, with those, it's 42 events for the year on the schedule already.
That is awesome. 7 days into the new year. So again, you can find all those at dragdriverepeat.com/event list -2026. And
of course, good.
Big shout out to Driven for being the event update sponsor. And again, if you are shopping Driven, use code DDR10 for that 10% discount.
Yep, 100% there. Love those guys over there. Appreciate them. They're awesome. Let's run into the J-Wire stuff here. I'll hit the play button here, and then we'll talk about some car updates from across the community.
What's up, guys? My name is Cole from Fort Worth, Texas. Expert car and marine wiring solutions that you can trust. J-Wire Solutions can wire and plumb your hot rod, your race car, hell, even your drag and drive car. Plus, they offer products to make your driving experience way better, like their blinker module that is just a must for all drag and drive cars. This module will allow your rear turn signals to continue to function while the brake pedal is applied, just like stock. Find all the details at jwiresolutions.com.
For sure. All right, let's talk about some stuff here. Devin Vanderhoof was on the Sloppy Mechanics radio show. Did you watch that thing? Like 3.5 hours.
I did not get to catch that.
Dude, it's awesome. Devin is one of my favorite folks to interview, and to watch him be interviewed and talk. Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
There was a point where Matt Happel left, and like Devin was just carrying on conversations with people in the chat. It was like 10 minutes, but it was great, man. He did a great job. But a couple things he said.
If he wasn't so busy, he could have his own show.
Oh,
if he wasn't so busy wiring race cars.
Yeah. We need a Devin Vanderhoof podcast. That's what we maybe one day when he gets old, he'll go back and tell all those stories. I don't know.
There you go.
It's going to be pretty good. But one thing he did talk about was the testing they did early on, or right as the car got done, when they went down to Bradenton. I think it was before, it wasn't Street Nass. What was the other event? Snowbirds.
Yeah.
And they tested the day before Snowbirds. Car went 1.0 something to the 60 on the back tires.
Yes. Those pictures were awesome.
Yeah. Robert Richard took some amazing photos of those. And then he said the car went 420s on low boost, like probably letting out early, pulling the chutes, 420s, first time out, first time it had been down the track with them. So it was back at Matt's at Performance Fab. He dropped a video yesterday that had it back in. They were doing some updates. They were moving some things forward. They were adding weight mounts to the very front of the car to put some weight on the front. And then I think they moved like an oil cooler up front or something that was like back in underneath the car. They moved it up front, and then new bull horns and all this kind of stuff. Like it was awesome, man. It's this car looks like it's going to be crazy. I don't think it had bull horns on it before. I think they just shot straight out the side. And so I think now they're going to turn them up, so it kind of helps with some downforce on the front of the car, trying to keep the front down. So trying everything they can without adding some weight. Trans cooler up front. Yeah. So,
yeah, that thing's going to be gnarly. I'm excited to see that when it comes out.
Man, bring it on. I know that Devin has made a comment in a couple of the Stick the Mag posts that he has signed up for early testing as well. So that's going to be cool to watch. I hope I can get there in time to see some of that left. So that should be pretty awesome.
Be jealous of that for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We got birthday parties that weekend, so we'll see how early I can really get out of here.
This next thing is going to be pretty awesome.
Oh, man.
So
Yeah.
Mike Galemi wrote in Hot Rod Magazine that Larry Larson is coming back. How long have we been asking for this?
Dude, since we've been doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is going to be great. 3,500 horsepower. And he said it's, what do you say here? For now, the current 3,500 rear wheel horsepower is more than enough to accomplish the mission, which is running consistent 5-second passes and obliterating the unlimited record.
Yeah. And he has a new combination that already makes at least 500 horsepower more than what he was making the last time it was out on Drag and Drive. So, and that was 580s at over 250 miles an hour. So that puts him in the mix with Ned Dunphy, Jeff Lutz, Goldstone, everybody that's going to be pushing for the fives. Maybe Devin, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Are we going to, like, is he going to be, obviously that's the question everybody was asking in the comments was, is he coming to Sick Week? Obviously it doesn't say in the article what his plans are except for Drag Week. So, is he going to wait? Is the truck new combo? He had said earlier that he wasn't going to come back until it was right and he knew he could do damage. So I don't know if we'll see him. Street Nats is in a couple weeks, like 2 weeks. So maybe if we see the truck in the trailer at Street Nats, he's going to bring it to Sick Week. Who knows? I have no idea. I haven't heard any testing. I haven't heard any rumors. I haven't, there's been some good time, good weather for him to test at Flying H, which is right down the street, all that kind of stuff. So should be pretty incredible. Oh, hey, Fast Ranger Motorsports says the surgery was a success. Looks like I'll be good to go for 6 summer. That's awesome.
All right. Yep. So I'm excited for Larry Larson to come back, and I'm really excited for it to be at Drag Week because Drag Week is in my backyard this year. So for me to be able to attend that and potentially see him in this again, it's gonna be epic.
Well, and I had written that I wasn't going to go to Drag Week this year. I was going to skip Drag Week so I can do Redwood Rally. But if he's coming to Drag Week, I'm going to have to at least come to a couple days.
Yeah.
You can't miss that. Come back of the king. So
yeah, very excited about that. And the Rotson is getting some upgrades. I know we talked a little bit about this, being that the Rotson was at PRI, and we've got Thomas West coming up in a future episode. So Rotson is getting some updates. Rowdy Street Cars is completely rebuilding the underside and the rear end setup of the car. So the last time it was out, it was breaking axles, and they are going to fix that. Their goal is Sick Week 2026, which we didn't get the number of days. What it's got to be 20.
No, it's not even that, I think. Well, 20 would be 27. So yeah, 28 days, 20 days, 23 or 4 days.
Yeah. Which is like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it looks like today. This was sent to me from Kyle Buntley over at Rowdy Street Cars. This is what it looks like right now.
I mean, yes. Derek says 24 days, 11 hours-ish to day 0.
Man, 24 days. And they have to build a complete floor.
Yeah. Look at that. There is nothing there.
Yeah. He did send a message later in the message. He said that the torque boxes were in, and then they're not doing, I don't think they have a full video for this out yet, but they are definitely dropping stories on their Facebook page and all that kind of stuff. So Rowdy Street Cars on Instagram, and then I think they post probably more on TikTok. From what, I mean, that may be the algorithm I have on TikTok. I don't know, but it shows me Rowdy Street Cars more on TikTok than I see anywhere else. So.
Either way, I think it's super cool that all the work that's being done on the Rotson and seeing it in Drag and Drive is, that car has been around for so long. And then to see them do this and do Drag and Drive with it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, to do Six Smokies and then do Southeast Street and Eat and now doing Sick Week, we talked about that, Street and Eat to Sick Week is 10 weeks.
Yeah.
What would make you go home and cut this floor out?
And not only that, PRI was in the middle of that.
Yeah.
It was there.
That's out for a week. So, man, yeah, insanity. Pretty excited about that car for sure.
Yep.
Other stories, obviously, if you guys are watching Deal Brothers Racing, DIEHL Brothers Racing, this car is coming together very quick. They have their work cut out for them. They have been wiring the last couple of videos they've put out. It's them wiring, getting ready for the car. David is doing all kinds of welding to get all of the hot and cold side put together. I mean, they've got a work ahead of them to make the event, but there's been so many times where we see these guys pull this off.
Yeah. Yeah, what they've done already is incredible. So
yeah,
they're killing it.
To put the car in the wall at Six Summer, then go through like several weeks of like, do we want to build a complete car? Do we want this car to, do we want to make the repairs to this car? Let's find another car to grab all the stuff off of. I mean, they've really worked their butts off to get this here.
Yeah.
So congrats to them. It's pretty freaking cool. I usually start my days with their videos. It's been pretty awesome lately.
Once you run 12s, it's about $1,000 per 10th second after that.
Yeah, see, the way my checkbook works, I just hope I can get some 12s.
Right. Another cool story here. We talked a little bit about this on Saturday, but Ralph Foy and his wife cruised Route 66 from New Mexico east, stopping at Tulsa for a quick picture. He was in the comments here just a little bit ago saying they made it to Triadelphia, West Virginia.
Wow. It's like Philadelphia's little brother or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know where that is, but West Virginia.
Yeah, this has been fun. He sent me a photo the other day. This is them on the starting line at Tulsa Raceway Park. So I told him, I said, man, if you're cruising Route 66, dude, it's only 2 miles, 3 miles off the route. You got to sneak over. And if Jimmy's there, the gate will usually be open and you can, kind of go around and get you a photo there. Don't make a pass. Don't ruin
Right.
this for us. Okay. It's 2026. So pretty awesome to see them making that trip across. And then him and I were talking, like they put the transmission in or another transmission in a hotel parking lot. And then he was also having some struggles in the heat of the day with overheating. So they were like stopping, every hour and letting the car cool down while she shopped and he did, while he hung out. So pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah. What a cool story.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of other cool stories, I did catch a bunch of these videos from Jesse Fox at 3G Video. Unofficially became the first person to do the entire Route 66 from Chicago, started at midnight on New Year's Eve, made it all the way to the end of Route 66. You can see all the videos on the screen here, all the stories on 3G Video on Facebook, 47 videos total.
It's crazy. Jesse called me today after I texted him. I said, dude, 47 videos. What are you, an animal? What's going on here? And he was like, man, every time we stopped, I did a video for Facebook. So yeah. You can see the views there are pretty good, upwards of 2,000, probably average if you figure it up. This is going to be awesome for him. I think this will be great for his channel. I think it's going to be a really good story for him to be able to tell. We'll have him on the show here sometime. I don't know. We've got January booked, but definitely in February to tell this story and talk about how much fun he had there. And then he's headed back across now. In one of the videos, he caught up with like 10 dudes that were cruising their hot rods from LA to Chicago. And so he's trying to catch those guys on his way back and get past them. So they're not the first ones that did west to east. So he was catching them today. He said he was about 9 hours or something behind them today. So, obviously if they're driving, he's driving too. So, they're all going the same speed, but like he won't sleep, he needs a lot less sleep than maybe a bunch of other folks. So pretty cool, man. A great story.
Yeah. Sucks he couldn't make it in the old truck, but to be able to still not give up and complete the trip is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Said he could have done it in 4 days. And they said that was pushing pretty hard to get it done. Obviously they were down for a full day because of the transmission in the truck. And they were waiting on somebody to come from Indiana to bring them the little Toyota truck they're driving now. But pretty crazy, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I'm glad he did that. And man, I can't wait to talk to him and hear about that story. What Chicago was like on New Year's Eve, trying to get through there, and just everything else that he endured through that journey.
Yeah, and weren't you saying like this is the first year that Chicago has done
A New
fireworks or
Year's
something?
Eve, yeah, New Year's Eve countdown, fireworks, all that.
Oh
So
my gosh. That's crazy. Well, again, thanks to Jay Wire. If you guys aren't following Jay Wire on Facebook, you need to do that. Jay posted a photo today of a new workstation they're working on that will be Jay's personal workstation, and he is moving their new hire into his old workstation. So that's pretty cool. Always constant growth for that guy. And not only does great parts and things like that, but also can wire and plumb your hot rod like Cole said in the beginning there.
yep.
All right.
All right.
This one's an interesting one.
Attention racers and high performance enthusiasts, are you ready to start your next engine build? If so, there's no better time than right now to go check out Molly Motorsports all-in-one power pack piston kits. With over 1,200 applications, the kits come complete with pistons, rings, wrist pins, and clips, all designed to work together. Visit mollymotorsports.com for more details. And for our podcast listeners, Molly is spelled Mahle.
Oh yeah, love the guys at Molly. They're coming back for the circuit 2026. They'll be on site doing all that kind of stuff. This segment's a little different for us. We typically are live all the time, but because of some scheduling stuff, Jason Coan of Coan Engineering couldn't be on tonight. So we have pre-recorded this earlier today. So we're actually going to play the interview. The one cool thing about doing this live now is that the comments and the questions that'll be on the side, we'll still be able to show them on the screen and stuff like that. And then once we're done, we'll send those to him, and we definitely plan on having him back on. We talked about after this recording, maybe sometime in March or early April or something like that, having him back on to talk a little more in depth about some of the stuff. You guys will see we get a little bit nerdy on some torque converter knowledge and conversations, but really this is kind of a get to know Jason and all that stuff. So I'm going to hit play on this and we'll see how this works. We haven't done this in a long time.
Yeah.
So you're looking a little different right now, obviously, than what people have seen tonight, but this is going to be kind of fun. So we have Jason Coan of Coan Engineering here with us. He's actually backstage right now. We're recording this previously. So as we play this on the live stream, you guys will be able to ask questions and do all that kind of stuff. But Mr. Eric White is in his truck at work. So let's keep all this to fun stuff. And we're going to go ahead and bring in Jason. I'm really excited about this conversation, really twofold, because I'm not very smart when it comes to transmissions. And I always say transmission is like voodoo magic, right? Because it really is. So Jason, tell us who you are, kind of what you do, and then we'll get into some Coan Engineering torque converter stuff.
Yeah, great. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on here today. Jason Coan from Coan Engineering. Very excited. We're getting ready to celebrate our 50th year in business here in 2026. Very excited about some new stuff, new projects, new products we're excited to launch as part of this 50th year celebration. I'm second generation in our business. My father started the company. He and my mother worked very diligently to build it up. And as a kid, I knew this is what I wanted to do. I was always tagging along with Dad at the drag strip, paying a lot of attention to what he was doing, whether he was working in the shop on the Coan Engineering stuff or working on the race cars after hours. It's always been my passion. So kind of to prepare myself for that, I personally am a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering with Purdue University. Finished up there in 1999 and have just been part of the business ever since. Part of the business before that, but obviously full-time since. Yeah. And it's really special. My wife now works with us. She handles all the accounting stuff for the business. We're spawning our third generation, as my daughter is also a ME student at Marion University in Indianapolis, and she serves as my summer intern and kind of test pilot for us as well, as she drives one of the shop cars. So
how fun.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So it's a little background on who we are. A lot of people may not realize exactly to what depth Coan Engineering is able to do or produce things, but just as our name implies, we really are engineering first. We do all of our own in-house engineering, design work, and then we manufacture and produce the vast majority of our products right here in our facility in Kokomo, Indiana. So we've got a team of about 42 individuals who all bring unique skill sets to the game, whether it be design engineers, sales, customer service, CNC machinists, obviously our specialized builders that are doing the transmission and torque converter assembly, and then support staff that go with them. So pretty self-sufficient with regard to manufacturing. We've got a lot of cool stuff back in the shop, CNC turning centers, vertical and horizontal machining centers, 5-axis machining centers. We also implement a lot of automation in our processes. We've got robotic loaders on, I think, 5 different machines.
Wow.
So pretty cool stuff to us.
Big time stuff. That's what's really fun to me in the last 10 years, really, that I've leaned into all of this stuff, is that the mechanical engineering side of stuff, used to hot rodders had regular jobs and they built stuff on the side. Now people are physically going to school to learn this stuff so they can build better parts and better cars and better pieces. I mean, it's really kind of cool. And the second generation, I mean, you didn't know anything but this. I mean, 50 years, let me bring that up real quick. This is it's pretty awesome. 1976 to now. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of technology swing that, someone like your dad and someone like you have seen.
Well, when you say this is all I've known, it's very true because conveniently I'm going to be turning 50 years old in 2026 as well. So, my dad took a big leap of faith in himself, I guess, to leave his day job and start this company the same year he was having a kid. But like you mentioned, he was a hot rodder who didn't go to school to be an engineer, but knew this is really where his passion is. He grew up on a farm, and as part of that, knew hard work, but he knew that his passion was in motorsports, and and his skill set was in fabrication, machining, and welding, and that's what he did as part of his day job prior to starting the business. So. And over the years, he's just been able to build a great network of folks. The employees are what make this company great. We've just got a great team put together, and have had a lot of our staff for several years. We've got 2 folks on staff that have been with us over 30 years, and several that are over 20 years. And I think that means a lot. That means that those folks also have a passion for what we do. So.
Yeah. So early on, was he focused on transmission stuff? I mean, obviously that's what that's what leads us to this conversation today, but did he know that was hey, this is where I can do the best?
Well, back in the early 70s, he was racing in a Coan dragster, a front engine B Coan dragster. That kind of developed as a relationship from a local car club. A group of them decided to put together a comp eliminator car. Then that dwindled down to just he and one partner that continued to race that. But I think as they were, navigating through trying to make their car run better, they felt that the transmission and torque converter piece was something where they just weren't being able to buy exactly what they thought they needed. And, like all of us that get involved in this, we just start tinkering with things and kind of develop our own niche. And that's what that was. And what a lot of people might not know is that in the very, very beginnings of our business, he actually was in partnership with Steve Greiner. And that's a name that has been around in the drag racing transmission world for a long time. So there was a short period of time, and I apologize, I don't know all the history on that in terms of years, but that Coan and Greiner were together. And I know one of the things that you guys would like to talk about today is some of our lockup converter stuff that we've recently introduced. And very coincidentally, my dad was giving us a little history lesson over dinner at PRI a few weeks ago. He said that really the first product that he and Steve Greiner set out to work on when they kind of formed their partnership and started the business was the lockup converter. So back in the mid 70s, they had a vision that we needed to have lockup converters. And what really sidelined that at the time was their focus was on NHRA class racing. Their first lockup converter was in John Lingenfelder's Superstock car, and it was quickly outlawed, because the sanctioning body really didn't know what to do with it. And that kind of sidelined their development because there wasn't so many different avenues of drag racing back then, right? It was kind of like you were class racing or sanctioning body racing. And things have changed a lot over the years, and so we just have kind of rejuvenated the roots of the business from 50 years ago.
Wow.
But there's been a lot of cool stuff over the years. In those early days, in addition to the lockup, they worked on the first trans brakes. The first trans brake for the Turbo 400 was something they did together back in the, in that mid 70s time frame. So.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff that is, we take for granted today, that stuff has to be developed, and someone has to have the thought process to really sit, and really the time probably is a better statement there, to sit and be able to focus on something like that, and it takes a business owner that's what he's doing all day, every day, is how to make cars go faster.
There's been some real pioneers in every sector of motorsports, focused maybe on drag racing here, whether it's engines or transmissions or converters. But, I think that all of us today, when we just take those things for granted in the transmission and torque converter department, really need to remember and pay respect to the work that people like my father, Steve Greiner, John Kilgore, Marv Ripes, Jim Beatty were doing, back in the 70s, Paul Forte at Turbo Action. And that's a group of people that I have a lot of respect for. And I've just found that my place in this industry isn't to try to feel like that, I'm the king or number one. I think that we can all play very well together. I think that, many of us who are now in the second generation of our business, ATI is a great example with JC kind of taking in his father's footsteps there. There's a lot of business for all of us, and we can have great relationships together. And I think the people that are in this industry for the right reason know that. And I have a lot of respect for the companies that are still, independently owned and being run by the family that started them. That's what keeps us coming to work every day is the passion of building the product that we're able to put our name on.
Well,
that's awesome.
That makes total sense. Yeah. It's a hard day today to do that, because of the cost of competing with that kind of stuff. But if you build a good business, it will work for you.
Well, we've tried really hard to build a good customer base over this 50 years. And, we just, like I say, we take pride in the fact that we manufacture our product in Kokomo, Indiana, and that the customers who understand and respect that's the customers that we want to have.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your history with cars. What was your first car and what do you currently drive?
Sure. Well, the age I am, I kind of just missed junior dragsters. I was turning 16 at about the same time that they were hitting the racetrack. So unfortunately, I never got to do that. But my dad got me started moving around at an early age, riding ATVs and things. And so when I turned 16, raced my street car, had a Camaro, drove it to high school, drove it to the racetrack and put some slicks on it when I got there. Somehow got lucky enough to win the very first bracket race I ever entered. I don't know. So that hooked me.
Yeah.
But ran that car for probably a year and a half, and then Dad was ready to put me in a race car. And so at the time, he had a full tube chassis Firebird that he had previously been running in Comp Eliminator. My dad's never been really a driver himself. He's always had a driver. Guys like Stan Whitaker, Alan Wilson, prior to me, driving Comp Eliminator cars for him. He wasn't ready to have me start racing comp, so we put a bracket / super comp engine in it. Ran that Firebird for a couple of years. Then we built a dragster. Got a little bit more involved in doing some bracket racing. Have run a lot of the Jeg Super Quick series stuff over the years. Done some, fast dragster bracket racing that way. Then in '98, he's always been very passionate about Comp Eliminator, and as have I. He was ready to try that again. So we got a car that originally had been Raymond Martin, his F Econo dragster. Raymond's a pretty well-known racer from the Houston, Texas area in comp. And so an F Econo dragster is a 4-cylinder combination.
Mhm.
Was a little unique to me at the time, but Dad said if we do this, we can do our own engines, we can do our own stuff, and we're not competing against the guys that are buying power from the horsepower emporiums.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we've been doing since '98. We built a few different cars. Currently, we have a G Econo altered. It's still based on that 4-cylinder platform. It's a 32 Bantam car. It by far has been the best and most successful race car that I've fielded. I've won the U.S. Nationals in that car 3 times.
Wow.
And
That's
run it up at the Nationals once. I've won the Division III points championship in Comp Eliminator twice, and I've finished as high as 5th nationally. And that's all racing and being a dad at the same time. So there was a period of time when my kids were young that I could, fully chase points. But, as my kids got older, I said, I can never get back dad time. Once those activities are gone, they're gone forever. So I really have scaled back my racing, my personal racing a little bit over the past few years as we've done travel sports with my girls, as we've gotten my son involved in junior dragster racing. Most recently got my oldest daughter into bracket / super stock racing. We've got an East Texas Cavalier that we kind of turned into a bracket car that she races, and I'll drive it sometimes when she's not there. I did have the idea that I might want to run the factory stock showdown stuff when the Copos came out, and so we do have a 2018 Copo. We ran it as a supercharged car a few times. Decided that trying to do that in conjunction with our Comp Eliminator stuff was probably more than myself and my father could do. Because when we go racing, it's just us, my dad and myself, my kids and my wife, if they're able to go. So we kind of converted that Copo over to super stock trim, worked with Jeff Taylor and put together a 427 naturally aspirated engine. We can run it in factory super stock D, and we had that car out a few times last year. So as you can kind of tell, I'm pretty deeply rooted with the NHRA class racing stuff. It's just where I grew up. It's where my dad's been since the 70s, and so you kind of follow what you know, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my history on racing. So
that seems storied.
Yeah, it's some pretty impressive history, though, for sure.
Well, thank you.
So I might have heard you earlier, but do you guys have a shop car or anything for development that Coan uses as, for projects?
We do. It really depends. I feel like that we try hard to be very diversified in our product offering. So with my own personal relationship with a Comp Eliminator car, I'm able to do some development on our 7-inch converters, our lightweight 3-speed transmission platform. We call our 350 XLT. Able to do development on both those products in my car. And then with the Copo that I mentioned, that being a super stock car, running 8-inch converters, again, a lot of development with 8-inch stuff there. Again, using one of our 350 XLT transes in that. And then the combination we put together for my daughter, we actually did quite a bit of testing with it last year, being a more bracket configuration. Again, primarily 8-inch converter stuff. We've got some other project cars that we've messed with over the years. We've got a turbo V6 Grand National with the resurgence of the drag and drive, or not the resurgence, but really the booming popularity of the drag and drive stuff. We've talked about maybe dabbling in a little bit of that with the car, but it's hard for us to be everywhere And so we do, enjoy working with a great group of racers in a variety of different categories and types of cars to be able to do product development as well.
Yeah, that makes me think I know Nick Cryer runs a Coan setup. Jeremy Ortiz, I talked to him earlier today. He runs his, loves it, has a whole, converter and transmission, everything. And then Dean Anderson was talking with you guys, I think, about doing some stuff. I know I saw him in the PRI booth. So a lot of drag and drive guys over there as well. And I'm sure folks will be making comments talking about their setup in here. So that'll be fun when we have you back on in the future and talk about some of all that. Well, the one thing you talked about in that little spot there was the different converter sizes. Can you give someone like me who is an idiot on this stuff, like what the different size? Because I saw 13-inch converters. I've heard you say 7-inch converters. Like, what does all that stuff mean?
Sure. Well, in the photo you've got on the left side, the bolt together converter is one of our 7-inch. That's kind of the pinnacle of the product line, an all billet bolt together converter. We offer that in multiple sizes, that particular one being a 7. And then on the right side of the screen, that's a very common 8-inch welded converter. That's something that's going to find home in 90% of your bracket race combinations, big block, small block, both. And why do we need different sizes? It's really about the amount of torque that we need to control at a certain RPM. So the more torque that an engine produces, typically the larger the converter would need to be. But the higher the RPM that you want the converter to stall, typically the smaller the converter would need to be. So we're playing RPM, desired stall RPM against the torque output of the engine to kind of size the converter. And I've used the example before, in power generation. If you're going to generate power with a turbine wheel, whether it's an air turbine, a water turbine, whatever, the larger the turbine wheel is, the more power you can generate. Likewise, with a converter, the larger the turbine wheel is, the more power that we can control or harness or drive into the transmission.
That makes sense.
And then there's, a lot more goes into it. Within the converter, we have the tuning elements of the stator. It's a very commonly referred to term in converter lingo, and then just the overall geometry or design of the blades in the converter, be it the pump, the stator, or the turbine, and how they all three play together is kind of how we fine tune the stall speed behavior of the converter.
Right. So in my old truck, I have a way nicer converter than I probably need. Right. It's a bolt together triple disc lockup deal. I won't ever need that much stuff. So, but it was a deal. I had a friend that worked at that company and all that kind of stuff. So when I hear stator, I think of like those guys at the racetrack, like, I do a lot with Midwest Drag Race Series. And so, those pro mods and the, top sportsman, top dragster, those guys have like 5 or 6 stators in the trailer, and they're ready to change something whenever they need to update something or whatever they want to change. You just hear, like, especially on like No Prep Kings and stuff, we need a new stator for the converter.
Yeah.
We'll see some of that. Sorry.
So the stator is probably the easiest way to fine tune the stall speed, and particularly because it's a very interchangeable component. If you have a bolt together, you can, as quick as you can remove the converter and get it apart. If you have another stator ready, you can swap it in. And I'll probably use naturally aspirated cars as my best example because they are affected most by changing conditions, atmospheric conditions. And so when the conditions get better or get worse, the power output of the engine goes up or goes down. And it's the power output of the engine that really determines what a given converter setup is going to stall. So if you put the same converter behind 500 foot-pounds of torque or 600 foot-pounds of torque, you're going to get 2 distinctly different stall speeds, same converter. Mm-hmm. So if an engine has kind of a sweet spot, you need it to stall 7,000. That's really the sweet spot where the power and torque play well together. But the conditions get worse, which has affected the torque output of the engine, and now your stall is down 2 or 3 or 500 RPM. if you've got the right stator available, you can make that change to compensate for the change in conditions. That's probably the easiest to understand example. Now, there is more to it. The stator is also plays a very big role in the torque multiplication that you get from the converter, or what we could call the stall torque ratio. A lot of people don't necessarily understand that the converter, when it's stalling, is actually generating more torque out than it's getting in. And the stator plays a big role in that. So different stator designs change that torque multiplication or stall torque ratio to in essence, give you a greater or lesser burst of torque during the stall phase of the converter.
Yeah, see, that's why we have people like you. Because, like, one, you can explain it, but then two, like, I just need to be able to call somebody and go, hey. And I think that's probably why having a combo together for a while, which is what Eric here is so tired of probably hearing me say this, but build a car and work on that car till you've got it to the point where you're ready to be done with it, instead of just constantly making these wholesale changes of blowers and nitrous and turbos and all that kind of stuff, because you really have to build an entire package. And I can't imagine what your tech guys go through and all the stuff. If someone, like most of these drag and drive racers, call and go, hey, this week for this event, I'm going to run a twin turbo setup and I'm going to make 800. And then in 2 months, I'm going to switch it over. Now my converter doesn't work right. And now I'm making 600 on nitrous.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's what keeps us going, right? We have to make new parts and different configurations to be able to suit all those changes. But when you're making wide swings like that in power, people also need to understand that a converter is not a fits-all. Just because you had one that worked great with your nitrous combination, it's probably not going to work with your turbo combination. And sometimes people don't necessarily understand that because they don't always grasp the fact that the behavior of the converter is dependent upon the torque that it's being supplied with from the engine.
Yeah, man, crazy. Okay, well, let's talk about the whole reason this conversation started is this new locked up kit that you guys have. Walk us through one. Obviously, it's a big breakthrough. I feel like this is something that drag and drive racers can really utilize if they have like a Turbo 400, which is kind of the biggest part that you were talking about at PRI and afterwards, things like that. So walk us through this.
Yeah, so really excited to launch this product and be able to get it done and tested in time for a PRI debut and heading into our 50th anniversary year here. This is something that's been on my mind for a long time, and a question that we get asked by customers from time to time. They'll see on our website, hey, we see you do a 400 lockup. Could I put that in my 81 Chevy Dually that I still tow a trailer with? Well, no, keep in mind that, what has been kind of out there and known of as lockup stuff for the last 10 years or so has been very race car specific. The converters are longer to make room for big multi-disc clutch packs inside of them. That requires the bell housing to be deeper. The kind of standard is 1 inch longer than a normal Turbo 400 converter. So it's not just something that you can retrofit very easily. It's something that, hey, I'm building a new Pro Mod car and I'm going to build it specifically to run this lockup package. But I saw a market for drag and drive, hot rodders, muscle car guys, whatever. There just seems to be, to me, there's a lot more race cars, truly race cars, being driven on the street than there used to be. Mm-hmm. And they need a lockup converter. And so I said, guys, we've been talking about it. We got to finish this. So we wanted to do it, and we wanted to do it in a way that would be very easily retrofitted into existing combinations. So I said, we can't have somebody call and want to buy this setup, and we've got to sell them a $10,000 trans converter package, right? Mm-hmm. They may already have a 400. We've got to design this so that they could retrofit it in. So right off the bat, the first thing is, there's all kinds of valve bodies, right? There's Coan valve bodies, M&M valve bodies, grinder valve, whatever out there. There's trans brakes, forward manuals, reverse pattern manuals, and still auto shift stuff. So we need to make the lockup be independent of the valve body. So that's what we ended up with. We've completely fit all of the lockup circuitry into the pump, and we designed it so that a stock Turbo 400 pump body and gears would work on our back half, or you can buy it with our billet pump body and gears. It works with a standard forward drum. It does require our input shaft, but we wanted it to be a kit that could be just very easily retrofitted into any transmission. That way, if you've already got a 400 that's working great for you, you could buy a kit from us or send us your trans, have us put that kit in, have your local builder put that kit in, and then get one of the converters that fits it. And the converter architecture, again, I wanted to make it something that was not completely unique, off the wall, specialized to Coan. So we utilized all the dimensions and the spline fitment from the Turbo 350 lockup, which was used in the early 80s by General Motors. And to proof of concept all that, if any of you saw the kind of launch release video I did before PRI, my dyno session that I was videoing, I was using a stock GM Turbo 350 lockup converter just to prove that would work. Now, granted, that's not going to work in a performance application, but you know what? If you wanted to put this in a stock horsepower, street-driven, auto shift vehicle, you could honestly buy this kit from us and get a remanufactured Turbo 350 lockup converter and put it together, and it would all work.
Wow.
Or for the high-end stuff, you can get a billet triple disc converter from us, or, you know, I hate to say it, but your preferred converter manufacturer. I would like that to be us. And along with our kit, and it's going to work. So
wow,
I think that's what made it really cool. But also the response we got to it at PRI and subsequently phone calls, emails, and such. I think it's opened a lot of people's eyes to, hey, can we use it here? Can we use it there? So to be quite honest, we're already kind of working on Gen 2 of this thing that's going to be geared towards a little bit more horsepower. Because I think the potential is bigger than I even imagined. So, and I think it plays well with some other things that are being used and or promoted in drag and drive. For instance, gear vendors. I know that they've, been a huge supporter of the drag and drive stuff. Hey, it's great to add overdrive, but it's also important to remember that when you put that trans in overdrive, you're asking the converter to work harder than it was, because now you're saying, I turn the output shaft of the transmission faster than the engine. And if you've got an open converter, you're working it harder. So lockup really only complements the gear vendors, and or the gear vendors complements the lockup. So I think for anybody that's got a gear vendors already on a 400, you better be looking at this, because it's a real home run for you. And in cars that may be built that, in a manner, I just had a conversation this morning with somebody that said, man, I just heard about this. And I couldn't even fit a gear vendors in my car because it's truthfully a race car and the way the tunnel's made and everything. But he's like, this will fit the stock Bellhousing 400. Absolutely, it will. So there's going to be those instances where cars that are built already are going to be able to take advantage of this. And you can use it how you like. If you only want to use it while you're doing the drive portion of an event, hey, that's great. It's going to keep your temperature down and make the car a lot more drivable on the street. Use it that way. Kind of depending on applications and depending on what you get, who you're working with on converters, very possibly can use it in the drag portion of the unit too. So
wow, yeah, that'd be awesome. Because we hear all those high end guys talk about that, but if you, just like you're talking about with naturally aspirated stuff, those guys need every advantage they possibly can. They need it all. So, yeah. And we had talked to Brian Acton and Jay Blanchard are the first ones that kind of come to mind in this, in my thought process behind this conversation, because they really didn't want to make the changes this year to put the gear vendor in the car because they were already putting so much change up underneath the hood They didn't want to, because to put a gear vendor in it's new drive shaft that changes all of your suspension settings basically because you're adding that extra weight there in the spot or in the middle and all of that comes along with that. But even in, with the other lockup style setup, having to move your transmission back an inch, now you're literally cutting drive shafts down, doing all that kind of stuff too. Now you can kind of put this in place, and that would be, I think this will be a great deal for drag and drive racers.
Well, I hope so. Obviously, we would be excited to be able to, kind of get ourselves into that market a little bit more, and hopefully this product can let us do that.
Yeah, definitely. And I know there's several, like I mentioned earlier. Nick Cryer has been featured on y'all's page before. Obviously, we know Nick loved this car. This thing is like literally the first 20 passes of this car were all 7-second passes. His first pass down the track was like a 780 in the car first rip. So pretty awesome. And then Jeremy Ortiz is a local racer to you guys. This guy, 850 killer. We love Jeremy in the 240 and all the stuff that he does. And to be right there, he even in the messages today, he said, "Oh yeah, Coan's right down the street. I use them for everything. They're awesome." He just said being close is a benefit, but also at the same time, he said it works well, and obviously it does. I mean, this guy is one of 13 people to ever run an 8500 in competition. So pretty
That's
impressive.
awesome. Yeah, awesome.
Yep. Well, what else? What have we forgotten to talk about or not talked about yet? And then we'll let you get back to it.
I could talk about this stuff all day, guys. So.
I know, right? That is one of the hardest parts about this whole thing.
That's probably one of my biggest faults is, I'm really a technical first kind of guy. If I'm going to sell you something, I'm going to sell it to you because you understand what you're buying from us. And, hey, maybe sometimes that may talk us out of a sale because that's really what I've kind of preached upon our sales staff too. And we've got 4 great sales technicians. One of them's been with us over 30 years, another one 25 years. They know this product honestly as well as I do, and probably know more about a lot of the combinations because they get more active feedback on a daily basis than I do. But they're going to take the time when somebody calls in to get all the particulars about a combination and make sure that we feel like whatever we're going to recommend is going to be something that's going to be durable for the customer, is going to perform well, and give them a lot of years of service. So,
sorry, I'm just taking notes there.
No problem.
Make sure we get all of that.
So if somebody's interested in either the locked up kit or even just one of your converters, who and how do they get in contact with someone?
We can always start on our website. It's a great place to do a little bit of your own research. So coanracing.com. We do have an online vehicle specification form they can fill out. That's all of our salesmen have access to those emails when they come into work the next morning or throughout the day. Somebody will get back to anybody immediately there. Like I mentioned, I've got a great group of guys, 4 guys, Craig McCoy, Craig Walker, Todd Redman, and Elijah Eckelbarger that are here. They're not salesmen as much as they are sales technicians. They know the product really well. They're able to help troubleshoot. In the event somebody say buys this kit and they're trying to DIY it themselves into their trans, they're able to provide technical support in that manner, as well as sales support to make sure that the customers are buying the right thing. Converters, we really pride ourselves in what we consider a custom build on a converter. We do have some standard offering that we keep in stock, but most of what we do, we really like to get all the specs about the combination and to custom spec a converter for exactly what the individual is going to use, and then build that converter normally within 2 to 3 days. We try to keep all of the individual components on hand so that we can do the final assembly and fitment quickly. So that's kind of one of our niches, built to order with quick delivery.
Wow. Yeah, that's a very fast turnaround.
And then, there's a lot of great converters out there. There really are, and many of us do things somewhat similar, but have our unique takes on it. There are a few things that I feel like we do that are kind of premier. One of the strength enhancements that's typical in converters is the furnace brazing, where all the fins are brazed to the actual housing of the converter. This being in a welded converter, steel converter. We use nickel alloy brazing. It's kind of an aerospace process. Not a lot of facilities even offer that type of brazing. It's expensive, but we feel it's worth it. It's something that my dad has done forever, my whole life, so I'm not about to change it. And we talked earlier here in the show about stators and their role in the behavior of the stall speed and the performance characteristics of the converter. We really do feel like that we put a lot of time in development of stators, again, because we do all that design work in-house. And then a lot of our stators are fully 5-axis CNC machine billet stators. So we've got a lot of pretty cool designs when it comes to stators. We've got the ability to do some converter testing stuff in-house with our dyno. So I guess we feel like we just try to stay at the forefront of technology of this stuff. And but hey, at the end of the day, the time slip proves it. So
right. I mean, hey, listen, if Jeremy Ortiz can make stuff work, you guys got great products. That's for sure. And he can beat on that. And he races all year long. He's probably one of the winningest racers in 2025 that's out there doing drag and drive stuff in this 850 class competition. All right. Well, sir, thank you very much. I just want everybody to know this is not your last time to be on here. You and I have already kind of in emails talked about this. We would love to have you back on. This is, I feel like, a great introduction to the brain of Jason Coan. Like, we're going to have some fun on the next one for sure. And now that we've got all this easy stuff out of the way, we can really dig deep, which is kind of some fun we want to have in 2026 is really, dig in, find out, understand more about that stuff as we, bring more and more people into this drag and drive community. So thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate you doing this today.
Absolutely. I really hope your viewers, find some value in this, and would love the opportunity to come back live sometime. I've done things like that before. I think it's a lot of fun to field those questions. Kind of puts me on the spot. Hopefully I can come up with good answers for guys. And but hey, if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you. So
yeah. Well, hey, nothing wrong with that. Well, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it, and we'll see you back here soon.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you.
That was weird watching us interview somebody.
Right.
That was a ton of fun, but man, it was very strange not being live while we're on here. The one thing that's pretty cool from that is now we get to talk with Ryan Snyder of PerformaBuilt here in a minute. So like, it's double the brain expansion tonight. We're going to learn some stuff. We're going to have some fun doing that. So again, thanks to Jason for doing that. Thanks for taking the time out of his day. We had originally planned for him to do it live here on the show, and some scheduling things came up, and we needed to do it during the day. And I appreciate him working us into a schedule that I can't imagine it's very easy to do all that stuff. So, Jeremy Ortiz in here. Great segment. I mean, I think that was a lot of fun, and definitely when we were talking to him, my brain was expanding.
Yeah.
So a lot left there to unpack when he comes back on, and some stuff that we'll be asking Ryan here in just a minute. So again, thanks to the team at Molly. We appreciate them and all the work they do with us here at Drag Drive Repeat. And thank you guys for being our race car friends. Thank you for being out there. Hit the share button because we've got a ton of show left here. Can't wait to get Ryan on here and discuss some of the stuff that comes along with that. I did see somebody in here talking about GM transmission offerings only. That is kind of, I mean, hey, that's the way it works, that's the way all that stuff goes. And Ryan is a GM transmission specialist. It's what they do and focus on too. So we appreciate all you guys being out there. Hit the share button. And as you're shopping, as you jump off of here tonight, hit these folks up. See if there's something that they have that you need, So Summit Racing, obviously probably carries every brand that's underneath this banner right here. They probably have everything there, so you can shop all of this stuff there for sure. Deechworks, the official fuel delivery of Drag Drive Repeat. Can't wait. We've talked to Mark several times about the fuel system for Eric's car. Of course, that's going to be a 10.0 car, and then 850s is the ultimate goal for that car. I feel like, I would think we've talked about that enough to say that out loud. Yeah, and then Molly Motorsports. Best pistons in the game. That's what Eric is going to run in the car. Can't wait to get that thing going. And of course, Driven Racing Oil. If you need the, all that stuff to do this stuff, Driven is the way to go there. Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, AFCO Racing Products, PerformaBuilt Transmissions, Car Chains 3D, Power Tube TV, WAF Racing, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk. Just screenshot this and then go back and shop at those folks as we end the show later on in like an hour or something. Deechworks.
Before you get to that, do you want to talk about what's in your notes?
Oh, hey, don't bring up that stuff. Don't bring up your topic here. Go ahead.
For the Race Car Friends membership, we talked about this. We're doing an OG Race Car Friends shirt. The design is complete. It's going to be in the production schedule, so more updates are going to be coming, but that's super exciting. I did get a chance to see what the design is, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. There's an email going out tomorrow with the updates on the free entry event drawing, so those are going to be coming up. There's more than $4,000 in event entries that are going to be given away to the Race Car Friends membership very soon. So again, if you guys haven't signed up for that, obviously the PRI special is over, but you can still join the Race Car Friends membership at any time. Just $10 a month. So head over there. You can find that on the website, but dragdriverepeat.com/racecarfriends-member.
Yeah, and I'll drop that in the chat now. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't even looking at the notes as we ran through the thanks there. We've done that a few times for sure.
Right.
I am excited about all the giveaways for the event entries. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
And let's run through some Deechworks stuff real quick. Of course, Deechworks, the official fuel delivery system of Drag Drive Repeat. They're a leading manufacturer of high-performance fuel system components. The DW product line includes fuel injectors, pumps, rails, regulators, filters, lines and fittings, plus surge tanks and pump modules, all engineered to support power levels ranging from 400 to 3,000 horsepower. With a focus on engineering excellence and industry-leading customer support, Deechworks continues to drive the future of high-performance fueling. Obviously, DDR10 is a code for 10% discount on anything you find over there. But the reason we're talking about this stuff tonight is because Deechworks is bringing 2 cars to the circuit. I'm freaking pumped about this first one. Mark Campbell's 850 killer SN95 Mustang Turbo LS, going to be going head to head right up against our boy Brian Acton, 3-time winner of the Street Race Power Rider class. This is going to be a big deal.
Yes.
I'm telling you, this class just got a whole lot cooler.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, 100%. But really, so I'm really excited to be close to Mark Campbell's car again. But dude, have you seen this? Did you see their video of this?
I have not, but I was reading the notes a little bit about this, and this is pretty sick.
Bro, 4G63 powered, turbo, obviously. It's the only way you build 4G63s. T5 trans and an 8.8 rear axle. They're putting a full fuel system in it, and then going to turn Mark loose on the tuning. This car, they've got a reel up. I have it saved in my phone. I should have put it in here. This car does gnarly burnouts.
I bet it does.
Like, this thing is going to be so much fun. And David Deech, owner of Deechworks, is going to be driving this thing in the circuit as one of the race cars.
Dude, how cool is that? The owner is going to be racing at the circuit.
Yeah, this is going to be a ton of fun. Plus, they are the Racer Party sponsor for the go-karts and stuff. So this is going to be a great time, especially dude, I'm telling you, this is my jam. Stephen Narks is still watching this. He's probably losing his mind. I see Brandon Parker over here saying, hello, Volvo.
Oh, yeah.
Going to be a super cool car. It's like a 67 Volvo Amazon. So it's tiny. Like it looks like the same height as that Mustang behind it, but it is not. I'll guarantee it.
Yeah, that's
And
going
it's
to be
nowhere
pretty
near as
cool.
long.
That's going to be pretty cool to check out in person.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. All right, so Deechworks, again, if you need fuel system stuff, they've got it. Obviously, you heard the list of stuff going on there. 10% discount code DDR10 for all the stuff over there. Let's talk PerformaBuilt transmissions and bring our boy, Mr. Ryan Snyder, in here. Guys, PerformaBuilt. Oh, here, I'll let you do that ad read. I'll let you do it. Just rambled on there.
PerformaBuilt is the official transmission builder of Drag Drive Repeat. At PerformaBuilt Transmissions, the goal is to engineer and build the toughest transmissions on the planet. PerformaBuilt doesn't just rebuild transmissions, they systematically re-engineer each model to eliminate OEM flaws and to achieve the highest levels of performance. That is why they say their transmissions are not just built, they are PerformaBuilt.
Boom. It doesn't get any better than that. Mr. Ryan Snyder, dude, talk to us, man. Tell us what's going on in your life.
Oh, you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
We got you.
Yeah, all right. I have about as much energy as a dollar store AAA battery right now. But that interview, I've only watched the PRI thing that they shared on Facebook. Now that I got to see a little more of it, that was a really good interview. I really like that.
It's really a neat thought process, and in the video they put up, like, I mean, it works. It's not gonna make it 0.7. It's not an overdrive, but dude, that could be a big benefit to some of these drag and drive guys.
Well, yes, and I will tell you why. When he said too, like, you guys, the same converter will not work with like a 4.8 versus a 6.0, I about fell off my chair. More people, yes. You need to have him on more to talk about converters. More people need to know about stuff like that. Saves me a lot of trouble. But yeah, this will be a big deal for the drag and drive guys, because one, you will have a much more enjoyable time on the road and not screaming down the street. But number two, I think you'll definitely see a lot of mile-an-hour pickups, for sure, in the track. Not so much at the launch. Don't launch and lock up. Going into that, I know this video answered a lot of questions for me, because one, I was wondering how they did it, and I knew there was a solenoid in there somewhere, because in the other video they mentioned it was all in the pump. It's crazy how they fit that in there though.
Yeah.
And it makes me curious on the function. Yes, he definitely demonstrated the product very well in that video, where you can use it in 1, 2, and 3, probably just by clicking a button on your shifter. I would talk to them more. They know their product the best, but I definitely would never launch on lockup or use it in 1, even maybe 2. That's kind of partially how we ripped the bolts out of Howie's flex plate and converter. We tried doing that, and it didn't work very good. So not only can it hurt stuff, if you don't have the right setup, or you're not, well, in this case you wouldn't be tuning for it. In our case, we were tuning for it. We could have hurt the motor pretty bad by lugging the motor down a little bit. So yeah, I would talk to them about it. Probably a little bit tricky for that full manual stuff. I'd maybe just use it at the top of third to gain that mile an hour. But yeah,
in a drag race scenario, like you're wide open throttle, you need that extra little bit.
Oh yeah, that extra little bit. I know tons of guys that run out of third gear, and either they don't have a 4-gear overdrive, or it's just not there. It's not worth going into 4th gear just for that, last couple feet. So this is going to be kind of a big deal, and I am curious to see how it works with the gear vendors as well.
Yeah, it really surprised me when he said that, because I kind of took the same thing. I thought, oh well, it won't be a thing, but yeah, it makes total sense. Like, and not just for the RPM drop, but then to also like just the wear and tear on the converter. That made sense to me when he was talking about it.
Yeah, one of the biggest things he said to me was they're already working on version 2. I'm only speculating, but I think I know why, because it's some of the things I run into with very high horsepower stuff with the lockup overdrives. You start running into Granted, their system is probably much more efficient, much more simple, and pumps directly through. But we run into cavitation in the converter in very high horsepower scenarios with lockup. That's why my 7-second one is actually running a non-lockup 4L60E, because the real difference is non-lockup, you just have converter. The flow is going to the converter, to explain it simply. When you're in lockup, the flow actually diverts to the cooler and not the converter. So then we get air bubbles and all kinds of shit. Extra component of the lockup plate and springs, there is vibration in there that can, cause some turbulence. So it's crazy to me that, they've been doing this for 50 years and lockup's been around, and 50 years later, we're still struggling with super high horsepower and cavitation and stuff. So if I were running their kit, I'd probably stick with one of their converters and ask them, hey, how much power can I actually push through this if you really were in the quadruple digits? So far, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think they had said somewhere like the horsepower limit was like 1,500, which would be quite a bit. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, and that's about where Matt is. That's where we were running into it. So yeah, if you're 15 and under, you're probably safe. Over that, that's where the industry's kind of going. I can tell they're trying to push the bounds. You guys obviously know I am too. But that is the big problem with lockup right now.
So the next question would be like, when like these pro mod guys and stuff do that, like, I mean, there's no middle ground. There's no 1,500 to 3,000 horsepower lockup design.
No, I mean, I'm
There's
sure
no reason, I guess, probably better statement.
yeah, those fancy, very expensive super billet converters that they offer, those are probably a lot more equipped, and not so much for street driving, to avoid that little problem.
Yeah.
Plus, you're using that with a power glide, most likely anyway. A lot simpler of a setup, but 400. That's why I was curious to how they were doing it, because I knew they had to be doing something to that backing, because on a stock backing, all you have is a boost valve. That's it. There is nothing else there. So I knew they were pulling it from there. Didn't know that they were doing a backing diverting fluid. It's very clever. I really wish them luck with that. I know that it's going to be a hit.
That's awesome.
Because we all know the Turbo 400 is kind of the tried and true. I don't think that thing's ever going to die. And
No.
it's so customizable at this point. You got gear sets, now you have lockup, now you have cases, bells, adapters. That thing's going to be there till the end of time.
Yeah. There's no more factory Turbo 4, or there's very few factory Turbo 400s out there anymore. I think they're all like, in higher horsepower stuff anyways, for sure. They're all aftermarket cases and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I still have stock cores from the past 20 years we've been in business, and everything we do is aftermarket now,
Yeah.
So they just collect dust if anybody wants one.
Hit you up, you can build it and ship it out.
Yeah, absolutely. But mostly everybody's after the reed case,
Yeah.
the reed bell, the gear sets and everything like that. So
Well, and
they're not.
if
That was cool.
Right, when you start thinking about like power levels and stuff, I mean, I don't know. There's just not very many reasons to keep a stock case if you are making real power and want it to live.
No, and those cases are kind of scary. They are probably the thinnest case GM ever made. And they also share the problem the 4L80 has with the direct drum. If you ever accidentally neutral one out, their stuff is probably going to come out the backing of it, with overspeed and all that. But the reed case is probably, if you can afford it, it's the way to go. Otherwise, an Ultra Bell, that's a guarantee. You need an Ultra Bell with the 400.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, dude, tell us what's been going on, man. What have you been up to?
I mostly just building, honestly. We have been so busy the past 2 years straight. It really started picking up 3 years ago. but 2 years straight, I have been incredibly busy. You guys know we're only like a 3-man shop. You know, when you call, you're going to talk to me, you're going to talk to Evan. Yeah, that's about it. And that's why I wear these all the time too. They help me see, but at the same time, I just talk to you guys through these.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm building at the same time. Usually, I'm talking to people.
Well, and the content collection too.
Yeah, yeah. I've been teaching the college, the Hawkeye, getting more into that. And I'm a little laggy on YouTube. I have been creating videos, but often it takes me on like an hour video, it takes me like 3 days to edit one of those. And that's if I do it 8 hours a day. So
Yeah.
I'm really behind on that. But I am developing new products that I haven't really, they're in the testing phase. You know, we are machining stuff. I'm working on a routing, not to get too back and forth, but Jason and this 400 thing is a great example of what we do here all the time. You know, they're rerouting fluid a different way. And you know how I've talked about you can literally pick up fluid and move it elsewhere and do something different. I'm bringing into production something I did with Howie's vehicle around about 3-4 years ago. I was using the low reverse clutches, bringing them on to support the low sprag and making that work with everything else. So I finally figured out a simple way to do it. It's a very simple bolt on, and I'm going to be offering that with a lot of builds shortly.
Nice.
So when you add, the more clutches you add, the more holding power you had. This will add 5 of the largest clutches in the unit to support that. You will, not only is that a strong piece, you will never break one again, and it will also support other gears as well for added strength. So we're taking the 4L60 almost to the point where I'm going to need an aftermarket case soon.
Wow. Is that even something that's offered?
No, it's a very thick case. It's fucking stout. So 1,500 wheels, what we're at so far. But
jeez,
I want to get to 2,000. I really do, and I think at that point I'm going to need an aftermarket case just for safety.
Man, that's so wild. And you know what's funny is like we've had this conversation a bunch too with you on here before, but like so many people just throw that transmission away. You know, they just write it off. And I would love to at some point we're going to do one for my old truck because man, the first gear in the 80 in the old truck it's so boring. Like
Yeah.
you have to get on the brake to do any kind of burnout, anything, you know. So
Or
yeah, we'll
you have to have a lot of money to buy a gear set. You know, they do offer those.
get out of here.
Yeah, I've seen them. They are very expensive, but they're available.
Yeah.
That's another problem I'm going to start to run into with the 4L60. I'm actually starting to figure out with Matt's car, especially the gear. I need more options for gear changes. We're actually going to be taking the Sonax out of his and going back to a stock 5-pinion because the ratio is just a little bit different. And since we're using second gear to get this done, I do need to bring that up for him. So I'm very limited there. So the higher we go up in power, that's another limitation factor I'm seeing. So somebody please help me develop a planet.
Yeah, I can't imagine the struggles with that. That brings me up to one of the other photos you posted on your Facebook the other day, dude. Tell us what this is about. What happened here?
Oh yeah. So with the beauty of computers, you know, that's why I still think a lot of these. That's why I think the 400 is great. I know a lot of people don't want to deal with the computer. You know, the computer can cause a whole lot of problems, or it can cause a whole lot of great things. This is one of those problems. I actually, you know, a customer started, you know, having an issue, and it wouldn't move anymore. It was slipping, so we got it back, and I didn't even notice it at first. I was taking the unit apart. I'm like, there's really nothing wrong here. We get through the pump, we take the reverse drum out, and I pulled this whole drum out in one piece, just like on the picture there. And because the reverse drum covers it, I didn't really see it right away. and I took the reverse drum off, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like,
As
so
it
then,
like flowered open.
yeah, I just started flicking the pieces off of it with my finger, and all the lugs and everything were completely blown out. I'm surprised the clutches didn't come out of it, but I was like, I've never seen this before. Let me look at some stuff. Let's talk. Talking to the people who built the car and everything. They had a Holly. They didn't quite understand it. They just maxed it out. Zero to 100. So that's the cool thing about fluid. That stuff's not going to give it up. And when you apply that much force at low throttle, that's what you're seeing is the force of the piston slamming those plates so hard and cracking that initial crack there around those splines.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the original force hit, and it just couldn't hold it, and it spread apart. And that's what you'll get at low throttle, like sub 30%. Granted, it's good to have max pressure past 30-40% when your foot's in it, but when you're making a shift, that's what happens.
Jeez, I wonder how hard that thing shifted as they're pulling away from the stoplight halfway through the intersection. It slams into second and just annihilates itself.
He was a cool old guy. He said he did it once, and that was it. One shift is all it had.
Yeah.
So the center held it wasn't rotational, nothing like that. The splines around the input shaft were perfect. It just hit that hard to spread it out.
Wow.
First time I've seen that. That's the craziest one I've ever seen. Usually the lugs just go and it shoves the clutches out of it.
That was going to be my question. In all of the thousands of transmissions you've built, like, have you seen this before?
No, there's usually a first every like 3 years that I've never seen.
Wow.
I don't know if I'll ever see that one again. That was
Is that on display somewhere now?
We have the center of it still. Evan keeps a stash of blown up shit as a trophy collection. So
Yes. That would be
That's
like
awesome.
if you guys had a showroom, like it's just like all of that stuff just on a shelf. And then
very often when a customer breaks something, I always ask if it's really good. I always ask them if they would like it, to have. And you 50% of them usually take me up on that offer. They put it up on the shelf.
Oh yeah, that would definitely go on my shelf, and it would probably be welded in the photo on the right. It would look like that, just mounted to the wall. It's just a flower.
And
I like it.
You can tell the clutches held, nothing burned, nothing slipped. It was just boom, done.
Wow.
It kind of a beautiful breakage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely super, super cool problem to have there. Well, let's talk about other stuff. Like you talked a little bit about Matt's car. Let me pull up a photo of it so people know it. This is what's it ran 780s?
Yeah, 780 coasting. The air was very perfect. That's why the mile an hour is very off. I think it was 168 on the second run.
Mm-hmm.
That car, I'm not sure if he's going to try to do a 750 and actually get mile an hour, because he's built a whole different car that the transmission is going to go in that's 500 pounds lighter and a lot more powerful. Not breathing hard, capable of 650s.
Oh, wow. What?
So we're gonna
just
try to
put
go,
that 4L60 record just out of reach for anybody, huh?
That's our goal. That's what he wants. That's what I want. We want to make it so unfair that nobody even tries anymore.
They're just going to call you and say, "Hey, we want to take that record. We want that record. Send us what you've got with his stuff."
For the record, too, he's not running anything special in that. No, crazy experiments or anything. That is a off-the-shelf unit built just like you would get. Not a billet rotor. Stock rotors are fine. It's got a beast shell in it. You know, there's not a lot of crazy stuff in there, but we know how to make it work. And
That's awesome.
it granted, you know, if you're going to do 780s, there's a lot of test and tuning involved.
Yeah.
Odds of doing that off the trailer are slim. But granted, he did though. That was a trailer hit when he did that.
Wow. And like
Prior,
he has a ton of seat time in this car too. Like it's been a several year build, right?
yeah, and it used to be a turbo 400 car actually. It has been faster with the turbo 400,
Wow.
and that kind of plays into the gear set thing I was talking about. Um, turbo 400 has a much better gear set for launching than what we're trying to do in second. That's kind of why we're doing a lighter car and going up in power. You know, to actually maximize what I'm trying to do with the transmission, as limited as I am. But I think we're going to try to do a little bit faster with that car and then go to a different car and then make it unfair.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. What is the second gear in a 4L60?
So you have a couple options with the Sonax set. You have 155, and with a stock set, you have 163. It's not much, but when you're going that fast and fine tuning everything, every little bit counts. So
Oh yeah.
we're hoping that'll make a difference. Overall, I just told him you need to just turn it up.
Yeah. Find the limit. Now,
Yeah.
what level trans, if someone's calling you to order that transmission, what do they order? What's the
That's our black edition, so that's the only one I paint black, obviously. And it's actually the one over here behind me. Ignore that big hunk of shit. That's an experiment hanging out of it. But yeah, I can't talk about that. The Chinese would be all over my ass. But it's $7,400. I am not raising prices right now.
wow.
Yeah, I know things are expensive. We're doing very well. We have a lot of work, you know, to cover, and we need more people out there running the 60.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is expensive, but honestly, if you got 1,500 horsepower, you have more expensive than
Yeah.
$7,400.
Yeah. And to be able to have overdrive and again, a way better first gear.
Yeah, and with my unit, you can actually race it and drive. I do certain things to it, moving fluid that supports things like that. I would not do that with any other unit unless they tell you to. But I still would, you know, you can start in second if you really have that much power. Otherwise, you know, do the Sonax, do the 284. It's a pretty nice first gear start. But with the computers and the tuning and what this thing offers, there's a lot of stuff you can do with it.
Interesting. Yeah,
And
man. Yeah. I wish I was rich because I'm telling you, I would have so many experimental things. I'd be like, oh, let's try that. Oh, what about that? Oh, what about that? And this transmission would definitely be one of those.
yeah, and you know, if you got a nice one like this in billet, I personally don't care for it, but you can just, you know, max out mile an hour to 255, run your pressure up, and you can have a full manual if you want, and then flip it back to an auto, you know, tune, because standalones, you know, they save usually 4 tunes at a time.
Oh,
But
so wait, you're saying you could make it a full manual valve body just in the tune style stuff, so you're controlling all that stuff with the shifter?
oh yeah, absolutely. It's probably not going to last as long as an auto would, and it's definitely going to be rough, for
Mhm.
sure. You know, you're running max pressure. Anybody who's ran a constant pressure transmission knows what I'm talking about. I don't really recommend that for street driving.
Right.
Just drag strip, because going from red light to red light, it's going to shift.
Yeah.
But on the drag strip, when you got your foot in it all the time, you want all that pressure anyway.
Yeah, right. And I think having that and then having your knowledge for tuning that side of it would help a bunch too. Because that's the other thing. Like, we worked on I took the old truck to the tuner on Monday and we worked on it. I mean, we drove it around, shifted every gear 3 or 4 times, and he was, touching stuff up, and it just drives so much better now because of that. Like,
Yeah. I redid my Holly video and went way more in depth with it. Part of the reason I did it is because I got better with cameras and quality and stuff. And I realized you couldn't see anything because there was a little tiny, I didn't zoom in good enough and all this shit. But that's a good video to watch. There's not a lot of stuff on Holley, but it'll give a lot of people a general idea of what's going on in the transmission, down to like your throttle blade angle and boost. One of the biggest things that I've been touching on, not a lot of people realize, is MAF versus TPS for line pressure. If you're gonna run TPS, make sure you're not still building boost while that throttle blade's fixed, because then you're actually overpowering the transmission with what line pressure is being, read to it. So
Interesting.
a lot of times with boost, it's better to run map sensor.
Yeah, see, more stuff I'm learning.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more my brain can handle. Like,
The Coan thing was actually filling mine up a bit. I mean, I knew most of that stuff already, but I thought that was one of the best, simplest explanations on converters I ever heard.
yeah, he did a great job. It really helped explain a bunch, because typically, like, I don't know. I know I'm probably one step ahead of like an idiot, but like a lot of times you see, oh, hey, 3,200 RPMs or a 9-inch converter. That's what you need. And everybody runs it by millimeter or whatever now, So, oh, well, this guy used a 258 and it worked in his car. So I'm just going to call and get the same one for mine. Like, it's 2026. You don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. The important thing, I think, to sum it up, people need to remember is it's not one size fits all anymore. There's so many different combos. So, your BTR camshaft versus his Texas speed in both 6.0s is not going to do the same thing. Don't change motors. Don't reuse the converter. Get it, spec'd out, because it, quite simply, all the magic that you guys are wanting is in the converter. My only job with the transmission doesn't really matter that much. I just have to make you go 1, 2, 3, 4 and not slip. That's it. And maybe think about the ratios versus your rear end. I'm going to do a big video on ratio calculation to help people out. But my job's actually pretty boring. I just need to make your car go.
You just need to make, like, your parts need to work like they're supposed to. And
yeah, there's so much more science in a torque converter. That's literally everything. That's what makes your whole car what it is.
Yeah, we've talked about that quite a bit with being one of the best upgrades that you can do on a budget. Like, a good torque converter will really change the way your car drives 100%. Because, like, if you get a shitty one that's not right, you're gonna hate it, absolutely hate it. And then it's gonna be too loose and too tight. It doesn't work. You're just gonna hate your life.
And don't go on Facebook and just get the 4,000 install when you don't need it. That's especially if you got something close to stock. Like, just don't do that. But that literally is what will make or break your car, is the torque converter, and it'll change everything or make it feel like complete shit. The transmission just kind of does what it does. I mean, it's a lot of that's just my job, and nobody needs to worry about it.
Yeah, I think there'd be a lot of people that would love to not worry about transmission stuff.
And on the tuning part, actually, one of my guys, I have remote tuners. I refer to people who buy my product that have tuned hundreds of my product. But there's a really good friend of mine. His name's Cody. He's one of my tuners that does HP. He's actually doing some crazy shit right now with torque management. We have a level 2 up in Minnesota, I believe. I think it's one of the M states, Minnesota or Montana, one of the two. Anyway, level 2 is only rated for 700 wheel at 4,000 pounds of weight. He has this thing at 1,100 horsepower at the crank for the last 5 months now, playing with torque management between the shifts and stuff, really fine tuning that tune. So we still, just like Jason said, and all the stuff they're doing with lockup, we have a long way to go with what we already have and have had for the past when was this thing made? 1993. 35 years or so. We're still discovering stuff with it and making it do stuff it was never meant to do. So the computer just adds way more to it.
Yeah.
I mean, without the E part of a 4L80 or 4L60, like how how do you control that stuff? I guess through your valving and things like that.
Yeah, a lot of valve timing, a lot of spring tension. That's a lot of builder stuff. But honestly, the 700, I don't think anybody's really ever going to pursue. It's I don't even like
Any other
doing it.
better options?
Yeah, if you're gonna go 60, go for an E. The 700s, it's good for like a cruiser. That's about it.
Yeah.
The way I tell people that are trying to put it behind an LS is, and especially auto shift, um, this thing came out when there was nothing more than a 17-inch tire or a 373 gear. The governor cannot work past that. So, and constant pressure is not great for these for street driving because it's the same guts. They're too light duty. It doesn't like it. It's just not a good move. So I think that transmission honestly needs to go.
No.
Yeah.
Just make the upgrade to the 4L60E and just have Ryan work with you and get it right.
Yeah, or if you don't want the computer, hit up Jason at Coan. Get the get the lockup 400. If that's more your style, because that 700, man, that is the most piss poor thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's what I had in the old truck before I did the LS swap, and man, it just would never. And I didn't know anything about stuff then, and like it just would not act right ever.
No. They have such a temper tantrum. And it's honestly, even for, I've set hundreds and hundreds of governors, it's still a pain in the ass to do that as good as I am doing it. I hate it. You grind a little off here, add a little spring here, grind a little more. You've crawled out and under the truck 20 times. It's not worth it.
Well, let's talk about folks getting, like, can they purchase stuff directly from you? Do they need to have a core? How do they get their transmission for you to rebuild it? All that kind of stuff.
Most things, I'm actually I think one of the things that sets us apart is I offer you can go on our website, which would be the easiest thing, or you can call me or Evan, the numbers are there. We actually do not have core charges for anything from 1997 to 2006. So
Wow.
basically any 4L60E. 70s were only made 2 years. Not a lot of people are running them anymore because Holly changed their software, to work with either or 15 or 13 pins. So I'd avoid the 70. But Corvettes I still need. They're obviously hard to get. The 2009 to 13, not a lot of people know those exist. We do those. Need the core. And I also offer free shipping with every single build. So the price you see on the website is the price you pay. There's no added cost.
Wow.
So no core, no shipping, just transmission.
That's awesome.
And I'm really trying to keep it that way. Like I said, I'm doing a big solid. There's a lot of shit's getting expensive. I know, I'm crying too, but this is just my way of trying to help. Not going up on prices for a while. Granted, that will happen someday. Let's be realistic. But I'm keeping the no core free shipping. That I know that's a pain in the ass for a lot of people.
Yeah, but I mean, like, typically a blown up transmission core is worth what, 50 to $100, something like that, somewhere. So, like,
yeah, if that.
Yeah, on marketplace. So it's probably more brain damage to try and get that shipped to you than you having a transmission ready to go out. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know somebody or have somebody through your work, shipping usually runs people about 200 some bucks. It just ain't worth it.
Yeah.
And if you've really blown it up, to be honest, I don't want it. I get really good cores from a couple guys. We try to get really good quality ones that look nice and aren't totally destroyed or anything, and give the best product you can buy out there for this unit.
That's awesome. And it makes your side easier too. You're not waiting on somebody's transmission to get there to build it to then send back to them. Like, I mean, I showed this picture a minute ago, but I'll show it again because this is important when you start talking about shipping stuff out. Like, if stuff looks like that most of the time, it's going to be ready to go soon.
Yeah. And with the manpower we kind of have, like, I actually help box and ship those units. I dyno test every single one. I build those units. Like, it's just go 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 all the time, and trying to schedule core exchanges and shit and all that is a nightmare. So
Yeah.
let's just keep it easy for everyone.
Yeah, just buy one from PerformaBuilt Transmissions. I dropped the link in the chat over there. Just buy one and get it coming, and you can put it in and be ready for your drag and drive. I want to talk about next generation of builders and car guys and girls, right? Because you're a young guy. You're way younger than Eric and I probably.
Oh,
And
don't flatter me, Michael. I'm
you
35.
have young guys that work in there with you. Like, how do we get these guys and girls interested in this cool stuff like this?
Yeah. So I think a lot of other aspects of the industry are a little bit easier. Like, everybody, builds engines, and there's, uh, kids around engines and shit like that. I think part of the reason I got roped into the college deal is because there's some courses on building transmissions, but in stock form. Modifying them is not a thing. There is no school for it. It's passed down. Yeah, it's passed down from builder to builder, essentially. And usually the builder you learn from is a complete dick. So
Yeah, because he's built transmissions at a level that he's tired of building transmissions at. Now he's got to teach somebody how to do it.
You're his bitch. You fetch the tool, and it's shit like that. But there's very few of those guys left. I don't, like Jason said, this stuff's been going on a long time, and like his father and everybody who learned from it, they weren't, they didn't have really a degree. They built the shit, they blew it up, they learned not to do that again. And it's just been passed down that way. I'm hoping with this whole college thing that we do inspire and bring that back, because my real big fear is a lot of these guys are getting old, and so am I. Before you know it, I will be 40 in 5 years.
See, I told you he was way younger than us.
I'll be 40 in 5. I feel it, man.
Yeah.
But I'm probably one of the youngest builders out there. Once we're gone, that's it. There's nobody. You're gonna have to start over figuring it out, and blowing the shit up. So I'm hoping we do inspire some youngsters that are in college right now that do go pursue to work at transmission shops or start their own, which would be even better. We need more, because right now in the overdrive world, I think there's like 5 of us that are major.
Jeez.
Us, RPM is my main competitor, Extreme Automatics. Jake's, he's getting old. FTI and them, they mostly stick with the 400s, but overdrives, there ain't a lot.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and dude, that is a problem. And especially like being really good at one thing is generally a benefit, especially in the automotive aftermarket. If you can make automatic transmissions, especially overdrive automatic transmissions, work with performance oriented cars, you can, I mean, you're a stand a head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yeah, and I really just, if you really want to learn how a trans works, like, anybody could kind of, I'm not saying anybody, but a lot of people can just put one together. It's not hard to put parts in and this and that and put billet in and stuff. But to really understand these things, my advice is pick up a forklift manual or something. Or take a course on hydraulic engineering. Fluid's just different. And then, pick up an ATSG or a GM Hydromatic book, and you'll put the pieces together. It won't be very hard. Because much like an engine, transmissions, once you build a 350 small block Chevy, They all have an alternator. They all have an oil pump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Transmission's the same way. They all have a pump. They all have a direct drum. They all do the same shit, just in different ways. So
Yeah. Interesting. I took a rebuild class one time from a dude named Wayne Smothers. I think I've told you this before, and have not touched the transmission since.
yeah,
I lifted the 4L80 out of the bed of a truck the other day and put it on the floor, just as a spare. That's all I've done with them.
just keep doing it, man. Practice.
Yeah.
It's like stacking a sandwich.
Oh, I can do that. I can do that. I'm pretty good.
Yeah. So you're a natural.
Yeah.
You
That's
can one of the ways I used to learn was I used to build it on a desk. You know, you drill a hole in your desk for shafts. Build it on a desk upside down. Put the pump in, then put in your 80 the overdrive section in, or the input shaft with the overrun planet and everything. Then your overdrive section, then your forward drum, then your direct drum, center support, da 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 da.
Yeah,
And
man.
You got that?
That's listen, I can tear stuff up. And hey, here's the other side of it too. Go to the junkyard, buy one for $150. It's probably already been pulled, to be honest. There's one on the ground I know of at the junkyard here locally in 80. Just go pull that thing and pull it apart and look at all the parts and pieces and then try and put it back together.
And if you're really on a budget, there's a million 4L60s I'm sure people would give away for free.
Yeah, you could probably make a post. Hey, I want to learn transmissions. Anybody have a 4L60?
They will give that to you just to get that hunk of junk out of their hair.
Yeah. And then go back, Eric. What episode number was that when he pulled a 4L60 apart on the show? It was like
I don't remember.
We'll pull that up. We'll put that in the description of this video later.
That's still on the YouTube.
Apart. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I had to do that. I might try doing one blindfolded someday. I won't do bushings. I ain't putting my fingers in no press, but yeah.
What we need to do is Mike and I need to get a transmission and see if you can teach us through the lens on how to rebuild one live.
It wouldn't be hard. I could talk you guys through it. Absolutely.
Well, and the cool thing is too, on your channel on YouTube, you have a ton of videos walking people through all that stuff. So, I mean, like you've done a great job building out a full library there on YouTube.
So here's an announcement I will make. I'm still going to do shit on YouTube, obviously, but a lot of it, I've been getting my bearings under me. You know, I was never a YouTuber. Teaching this college course has taught me a little bit more professionalism, and you know, I need to go more in depth with things for people to actually do this. So I am going to be working on a series. People are going to hate me for this, but I'm going to be working on a series that you can purchase that is the most in-depth thing I will ever put out. And it is a literal fucking training video.
Yes.
I'm going to give it to the college for free, but it will not be just the 4L60. It will be the 700. It will be the 400. It will be the 4L80. It will even be the 204R.
Wow.
I'm going to do probably 6 to 8 builds on different transmissions. They will be very long. You know, they will be chopped up in sections. But if you want to be a master at a particular transmission, you can buy this video and it will be everything that I possibly know. And
dude, how cool.
Yeah, partially how to modify it and everything.
Wow. That'll be really cool, man.
Yeah, I will go through the circuits, you know, what each valve does, how signal fluid powers the pilot to do the stroke, real in depth.
Yeah. Well,
What
you need to do. Yeah. Well, hang on real quick. That's a great question. What you need to is do the recording, collect all that content, and then have one of them college kids edit it. Like,
yeah, I wish. Editing is my least favorite part because when you watch yourself like 18 times, like I'm good.
Preach.
Yeah.
Thousands of videos Eric and I have edited of ourselves.
Yeah, congratulations, you both. You got like 20,000 followers now on like Facebook, I think.
On Facebook, yeah. We've covered. We've got 11.6 on YouTube. I mean, like we're getting there, man. We're trying, you know.
Yeah, I remember when you guys were just babies.
Yeah, I still feel like we are, but yeah, we're definitely trying. You know, you put out enough content, and somebody's gonna find your stuff. You know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, you guys are growing pretty quickly, actually.
And we're
And
trying, man. Trying to preach the gospel, like Wes Buck says, preach the gospel of drag and drive over here.
keep sharing, keep having people like Jason, myself, other guys like J-Wire that throw a little tidbit out there.
Mm-hmm.
Need more of it.
Yeah, that's our goal for this year, is really to level up. We want to have a lot of, I want to have more technical conversations. That's what a lot of people talked about with last year. We had fun last year, and that was what the show was about last year. But this year's more, we want to have guests like you on to talk about the in-depth stuff of like how to keep a 4L60 alive. Because listen, if there's if somebody's building a 4th gen Camaro, they already have a 60 in the car. It's much easier to have a good 60 there at a reasonable power level than it necessarily is to change over to a 400 and do all that extra stuff. Like, you already have it, and you have everything bolts up, all that stuff. So
yeah, and it's even if you're home building, you don't need a lot of billet at all, really, to do 500 to 700 horsepower. You just need to know how to actually modify the unit with the fluid, and it will do the work.
No, I'm just calling you. That's
Yeah.
what I'm doing. I'm just gonna call. Hey, I need one. We've got this card. I need one.
That's what I prefer. Let me do it. I can.
Yeah.
I'll do it all day. But
Yeah, I want to repair it on the side of the road watching one of your YouTube videos if I had to, but I don't want to do it yet.
I think I want to rebuild one once at least, just to say that I did it.
You should. Right. It's an experience. You just need a couple tools and just a little bit of patience. Lip seals are a motherfucker when you're first starting out. But
I might take your advice. I might make a post and see who's got some 4L60s they want out of their way, just for shits and giggles, and see if I can't get one.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that'd be awesome.
If you can get past the bell housing, you're golden.
We'll see.
Surely we can get there.
You need a special bit for that. It's not a T50. It's a plus.
Okay.
And then you gotta hug it. Everybody
act like you love it.
Yeah, I everybody tries when they do send me their core or something. They try to get them out, and all the bolts are stripped out, and then I got to torch them out. So I think that's the hardest part.
That's awesome.
If I get to that point, I'll make sure that I record it in case I do something stupid like that. It'll be on video.
Yeah. Oh, you definitely have to get the content for sure. Real quick, I want to go back up here before we close the show out. So Josh Rich had asked, is the budget build class 660 or 1320? It is 1320. We'll be racing quarter mile with that class. Just wanted to let everybody know on the $3,000 cheap car challenge. All the fun stuff. You ever done one of those?
No.
Super cheap car?
I mean, my truck's built on a budget. I bought the 454 for $1,000.
You mean this truck right here?
Yeah. It's not anymore. It used to be. That truck was built on like $2,500 originally. 4L60E. We built it literally out of the scrap bin with junk. And we didn't do bushings or anything. We didn't really give a shit. But 454 was bone stock, pulled it out of a field in Lancaster. It ran out of an 87 Suburban for $1,000. Stock wheels, stock everything, couple bolts and nuts. Now it's got about $10,000 worth of suspension, full framework. I am debating on the inline 6 out of an Envoy and then turbo swap.
Yes.
That's something that I really want to do with it. The 454 is just too heavy. It's all iron.
Damn you, Calvin Nelson.
Yeah.
Right.
I have 700 springs on the front, and that block still weights it down too much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're just so heavy, and that 6 would be super cool in there too.
Yeah, and they make a lot of power. I follow the father son there that have the American Supras. Then we got a bunch of Motion Raceworks shit. Anybody needs a steering column, go to Motion Raceworks.
Yeah,
it's the best one.
Yeah. I think that's what Eric. That's what you have in your car, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually sitting over here behind me.
Nice. That's what's going in this car, and then that's what my brother put in his new build.
Yeah, we even got their billet turn signal. It's really nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely a plus.
Yep, I got one of those too.
I bought it just to have it. I needed
Yeah.
it. I needed it.
And what you need to do is you get the billet turn signal, then go to J-wire and get the horn button that bolts onto Motion's billet turn signal.
I need to go to J-wire for a wiring job anyway because I am not proud of mine, and it's a little like AutoZone horn button, like zip tied onto the column there.
Yep. Yeah, we've
Oh,
all
yeah.
lived that life too.
Yeah, she needs some work still, but I think the inline 6 is coming.
Yeah, that'll be a really cool. And they make 300 horsepower factory. I don't know if there's any cams or anything available for them, but with the VVT and a good tune, I mean, who knows? 300 horsepower is enough.
I got it for free, so I'm just gonna put it in there
Oh
and
yeah.
put a turbo on it and see what happens.
Oh well, that's 500 horsepower there easily.
Yeah, we're just gonna push it since it's free.
Yeah. You'll be
They're
like,
everywhere. You can get another
how
one
does-
out of it.
oh yeah, in a second.
Yeah.
And you probably have somebody else's whole entire vehicle for $300.
Oh yeah, and we also have a 1JZ. We don't know what to do with.
Oh,
I don't even have a car for that yet, but we want to do something with it.
yeah. Yeah, that's a cool car too, or a cool engine too.
Yeah,
Interesting.
lots of RPMs right there.
And that's the other thing. I want to get into the import market because they have adapters for this stuff now for the 60, for the K series, the 1J, the 2J. The adapter market's awesome right now.
Yeah, I had not thought so. We're building a Hillman wagon, which is like a Mini Cooper, just a hair bigger than like an old Mini Cooper, for my daughter for her first car. And I had thought about a K series, and we were just going to do a stick shift setup. But
Yeah,
4L60 would be kind of fun.
I have. I follow this
Right?
guy. It's called the Battle Mini. It's like a 4.8 LS swap Mini Cooper.
Mhm.
You should check it out. I love
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah, that
I
thing
want
is awesome.
But the K swap probably the best thing to go with the Mini Cooper for sure.
Well, and for hers, we'll eventually probably put a turbo on it and stuff like that. But like, it would get great mileage. She could drive it anywhere and get parts at any place that she would need them.
Oh yeah.
Would be my thought.
I have a stock. I drive a 2005 S every day, just about, other than my minivan, and that thing gets like 40 miles a gallon. The supercharged one.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a
Nice.
blast.
It's just a bitch to work on. You need some special tools from BMW.
Yeah, so this is longitude. This is rear-wheel drive setup. It'll be, we've got to cut in an 8.8 for it and things like that. So it'll be a ton of fun. Probably out of front suspension, custom cradle up there, and then we'll,
Oh
case
yeah,
swap, and now maybe a 4L60 and
it's a little go-kart for the street, pretty much.
oh yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I want for her, to have something fun. And we bought it for 3 12-packs of beer and a 20.
Oh, that's yeah, that's worth it. And you'll never need the parallel park. I promise that.
No, she could just get out and pick the back up and move it.
I literally go to church up here on Sunday. I just pull in at every spot, and then you can fit 2 Coopers in a parking spot.
That's awesome. That is
Nice.
awesome. All right. Well, what else we got, man? What haven't we talked about? And we'll let you get back to it.
Let's see. We did Matt. We did lockup. Any you guys want to talk more tech? I could explain lockup a little more, I guess. Or
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, and then I also want to talk about Howie's car. What's up with it? I hadn't seen a post from him in the last little bit.
I need to give Howie a call. I've been like really a couple months back. I was really sick with the flu for like 3 weeks. Yeah, I was even laying in the bathtub. Like, I never do that. You know what I mean? But he's tried to call me during that. I couldn't even talk. I lost my voice. But they blew up their motor. Not bad. They didn't kiss the piston or anything, I don't think. I'll straight up tell you in a second. Howie Price. But yeah, they hurt the motor is really what happened. So they've been down. The cam showed some weird wear, so they did source another cam, and they blew a little bit of a head gasket there.
Nicked her just a bit.
So I mean, the turbos they're running are fucking real serious. They're capable of like 2,500.
Yeah.
They came off of a Viper. They were basically brand new,
wow.
but they're not running those things hard, and that motor is pretty much stock bottom end, nothing crazy. So they were shoving some serious boost in that car,
Yeah.
and for how heavy it is. But the last thing I heard, and I do owe a Howie a phone call, was they definitely heard it and got very, very lucky. Oh, here it is. Yeah, one of the pieces of the valve there.
Oh,
That's what happened.
Oh,
got him.
So honestly, just some head work and a little bit of cam work.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a picture of the cam. One of the lobes was kind of fucked up. That must have been text message. I won't bore you guys looking through my phone.
Well, talk to us about like this lockup deal, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, so lockup, I mean, to put it simply, it sounds very complicated. It's not. It doesn't matter if you have an overdrive, like a real one, like over here. Sorry, my camera's flipped. 4L80, 4L60, or even cones. There's honestly just a small circuit in the pump. That's all it really is. And you typically what they're doing is just like what you would stock. A solenoid actuate or activates it, and a valve diverts the fluid. And with lockup, you know, the reason why we're fighting the high horsepower stuff is when you engage lockup, it super cools your transmission, cools the converter where most of your heat comes from. You know, it works hard. Heat, work is heat. So when you hit lockup, you will divert most of the flow from the torque converter through the cooler. So the torque converter isn't exactly optimized for stall speed or power. You know, that's why lockup is more of an assist, is how I explain it. Cruising, or when the pressure is totally bottomed out and you're at top end anyway, but you got the rolling resistance to not stress out that clutch so damn bad. One of the
So hang on, I'm trying to. I just had the thought, like, because I've watched his video, and there's like a clutch pack in there. So is it just ballooning it enough to mate those surfaces? I don't understand.
So you'll get into ballooning with stock converters. It's on the backing where the clutch presses against. It's very thin steel. You know, heat's gonna warp stuff, and
Well, yeah, I mean, like internally, how's it making all that stuff? Just because I mean, the lockup is like basically turning 1-to-1 engine to the converter, right? Like now you're no slippage, right?
yeah, it's a true ratio, just like he demonstrates. And pretty much that small circuit in the pump, and when the fluid flips closed or the solenoid flips closed, that fluid diverts through the input shaft and pushes on this gigantic piston that the clutch is glued to. And that's where, you know, more cooler flow is rerouted, you know, to cool that down. But
Interesting. Sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say I lost a little
Yeah,
bit of my
yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how that. I hate to say lock it up, but like how does it like push again? Because it's got to be something pushing against those clutch packs. And the way you looked at it in the video was like those are on the I guess the flywheel side of the converter, right?
Yeah, the turbine side. It's a giant pressure plate more or less on the
Okay.
turbine side, and that basically makes it entirely more efficient where it is locked to the engine for the most part. If there is slippage, it's such a small amount that does not matter. You'll never notice it. But today's converters are designed, and today's how we do the lockup system rather than pulse like GM did, where it's, you know, making it comfortable more or less, pulsing the clutch. Today's lockup systems are just on off. That's all they do, and they're meant to hold. So when that fluid diverts from the valve in the pump and the solenoid activating it, it gives permission to push on that clutch and hold against that backing of the converter. And that's why billet backs are very important. They're much thicker. They won't balloon. The clutches are made differently than stock. You know, the stock ones are more horsehair, more or less. They're designed for a little slip. The ones we got now, no slip. That's bad.
No slip.
Yeah. But you will have a true ratio when you are locked up. The gears will actually, the gear ratios will function as they are intended, rather than maybe like just a few percent converter slippage, you know, not locked up.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
it really helps with the top end. Like I said, it's good for people to use lockup in a racing scenario to gain mile an hour. You certainly will, especially if you're really up there in the RPMs in third gear, mostly.
Yeah, and a lot of guys, if they're racing, they're trying to get they're trying to plan their rear gear, like in a full race application, like they're planning their rear gear to be at the quarter mile, all that kind of stuff. But for drag and drive, that is one of the things that makes it so difficult, is because yes, you may have the perfect ratio for your drag race car and the tires you run, but now you got to go drive that stupid thing on the street, and
Yeah.
you race with a 28, but you drive with a 31. And now you want to, get a little more mileage, but really just less heat in the transmission.
Less heat, and you also, like, you don't want to launch on it. I really never recommend first and second gear, because you have something called a torque multiplier in your converter. Also, when you apply the lockup clutch, you're gonna drag down your motor, if you're not hitting stall speed or anything. So you want to use the torque multiplier, and then you want to use that lockup clutch as an assist for later, is really the best case scenario. I've seen up to 2/10 pretty commonly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a bunch. That's a bunch, especially for, again, naturally aspirated guys, like we talked about with Jason. Like, those guys need every inch of help they can get, from 14-second cars to 7-second naturally aspirated setups.
And when you do the math with your rear gearing and stuff like that, and all of it is just working, you really have a weapon, whether you need to use lockup or not.
Wow, that's awesome, man. There's so much to learn. Eric, is your brain full yet?
It's full, but I don't know. I kind of want to rebuild a transmission right now.
Perfect. Hey, if we don't see a post from Eric White tomorrow, asking for somebody's 4L60 that's been in the floor for a long time, or hey, a 400 would be great.
I have a 400, a bone stock 400.
A 400 is probably the best. It is the best transmission. It's the best one to learn on, because there's like 4 whole pieces to the thing, and it just works. You have a boost valve, and the valve body itself is so tiny. There's only a couple things happening. So,
and I have a reverse valve manual body sitting in a box for it that hasn't been put in, because it's not the trans that's in the car.
Those valve bodies, I like FTI's billet valve body. Boy, that makes building a 400 easy.
I can't remember. This one might be FTI or TCI. I don't know if they make one. I don't know. It's one of those two. I remember the box, I think, is yellow.
If it's cast iron, TCI used to, I don't know if they still do it, but TCI used to modify stock valve bodies pretty hard and heavy to do their thing. FTI's real simple. It's a plate, 1 check ball, and a solenoid and a valve. That's it.
Nice.
So it sounds like Eric is building a 400.
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole reason I had it. I just have never done anything with it.
The biggest secret to a badass 400 is fit as many clutches as you can in each drum, dual feed it through the center support, and put a big spring in the boost valve.
You got it?
Dad's on board too. He's excited.
Dude, you got to do it now.
That's 1,000 horsepower all day.
Yeah. Yeah. With Dad helping, dude, you're okay. We expect a full video on this by Monday.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Ryan, listen, dude, thank you so much for coming on tonight, man. We appreciate it. You're so smart, dude. It's hard. I'm sure it's hard to dumb it down enough for me, and we appreciate you doing it.
Sometimes I want to do more examples. Tonight was just a throw together.
Yeah.
I couldn't find. I had a lockup clutch. I have a cut apart converter, but I couldn't find it in my room of shit. So I was like, hell with it. I'll just try to explain.
That's awesome. Well, I passed by your place when we were up at Drag Week, but tell everybody where you guys are located.
Yeah, we're 353 Tenney Street in Bloomsburg, PA. Real small podunk town in Pennsylvania. And mostly, though, you guys will deal with us on video, on the phone, through emails. You can reach us basically anytime. I'm still working. It's 10:30. So
Yeah. I did see you messaging folks when you were backstage the whole show, and I saw you messaging folks. I figure it was probably work stuff in there, as well as hopefully some fun stuff too.
yeah, my phone contacts list is probably most of the memory in the phone. It freaks people out when they call me and I say,
Nope.
Mr. Eric, how are you?
That's awesome. Well, man, we appreciate you a whole bunch.
Yes.
Guys, PerformaBuilt Transmissions, sponsors here at the brand. We love you guys. You guys are so smart. Tons of YouTube content as well on that side. You guys have been part of our program here for a while now, so we appreciate that.
Oh yeah, man. It's been a fucking honor watching you guys grow too. So
Well, we appreciate that.
that.
For sure. All right. Well, we're going to put you backstage. If you guys need him, holler at him for sure. And then let's get this thing closed down.
Alrighty.
peace out.
Sweet. Dude, what a show, man. In 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Who'd
Yeah.
have thought we'd have went 2.5 hours when we had almost an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of guests.
Right. And a pre-recorded segment.
Yeah. Yeah. So, guys, listen, appreciate everybody for being here tonight. This has been awesome. Again, man, those guys are smart. I want to do more technical stuff. I want to have Luke on for cam stuff. We want to talk to engine builders. So, if you guys have an engine builder you like, definitely hit us up. We don't have one of those sponsors that we can lean on. I just want to learn, man. I want to learn.
Yeah.
And again, it'd be awesome to see you tear into a Turbo 400. Because here's the thing. If you break it, we know a dude that can either help you get it fixed, walk you through
Right.
fixing it, or like you just throw it in the trash and it's a Turbo 400.
Yeah. What you couldn't see is while he was talking, I was literally putting in his address to see how far he was away from me to literally figure out how I could go spend a day there and
it's too
learn how to
far.
rebuild a transmission.
Yeah, it's too far. And he really probably has the video on their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we can figure it out. Man, it'd be a lot of fun. Hopefully, your dad come over and help you with that. I think that'd be kind of cool to really see you guys put that together and do all that stuff. So
I think it's the 400. I think is actually at his house, anyways, in his garage.
even better. Just do it there. Drill a hole in his countertop.
Hey, we've got so many engine stands. I've seen people take an engine stand and make it into a trans stand,
Oh, dude, there you
like
go.
mount it upright. So that's another goal of mine at some point is to just make one of those brackets to mount one.
Yeah, and the car currently has a Turbo 350 in it, right?
Yeah, with a trans brake, and it's got an aftermarket bell housing, and yeah, it's got the works.
Okay, well, maybe just keep that one.
Yeah, but I'm still going to build the other one because
Yeah.
I have all the stuff.
Because you have it. You might as well.
While I'm in there.
Yeah, right. While I'm in there, great to see Eric in here tonight too, as well. Appreciate his friendship for a long time, man. We've been friends with him. Before we close the show down, this is something I sent you a message on earlier today, but I did my first drag and drive related podcast. Was an interview with Jonathan Sonecipher, if he's still in here, a kind of a group roundtable. This was before I even owned a camera I could record with on that stuff. And I went over to Stoney's shop. We set up a couple different mics and we told stories. And that was September 4th, 2020.
That's
That's
crazy,
a long time
isn't
ago,
it?
bro. That's so crazy. And then for folks that listen a long time, Dan Chandler found me through Narcoleptic Customs a long time ago. The reason I thought of all of that was the first podcast I put out on Narcoleptic was put out January 4th, 2020. So been doing this a minute, man. We've talked to some really fun people over the years. I need to get a list of people that I've talked to and put it all down. And I mean, dude, that's 6 years of conversations.
Yeah, I was just looking on 815, you were the 4th episode of the podcast when I started doing that.
Wow. So crazy, man. We've come so far. When was that?
That's what I was trying to see the date on it. I didn't see it off the hand here.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
4th gift.
it's wild.
So
I mean,
Man.
we've been talking and doing this stuff for easily, 4 or 5 years now.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's for sure. All right, buddy. Well, send us out, man.
All right. Appreciate all of our race car friends, everybody that stuck around while we sat through a pre-recorded segment today. I was excited to see that our numbers didn't drop and everybody hung out for that. So that was really cool. Again, thank you to everyone that's in our Race Car Friends membership group, and just all of our race car friends in general. Like you mentioned earlier, it's been a while. I mean, PRI hasn't been too long ago, but ready to see Race Car Friends here real soon. So appreciate each and every one of you. Tom Bagley, good night, buddy. And then thanks to our sponsors, Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cam, Jaguar Solution, AFCO Racing Products, PerformaBuilt Transmissions, thanks to Ryan for being on tonight, Car Chains 3D, Power Tube TV, WAF Racing, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk. And we will see you guys on Saturday morning.
Yep. Later.